my own space station. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 176 Dongfang escapes. My legs, Dongfang asked, a little excited and trembling, can they grow back? That's right, it's not that incredible. There's a creature on our blue star called a salamander. There are macrophages in their bodies, which can help them regenerate lost limbs. We are developing a super potion based on this principle that can help humans repair damaged organs. However, it will take some time, you have to wait a bit. Dongfang Chen explained he wouldn't believe it if someone else said this. How could developing a potion be so fast? And you think you can develop it just because you want to? If that were the case, where would there be so many patients in this world? But he believed it when these words came from the young man in front of him because he could produce antigens to immunize against the virus, and he could easily treat the side effects on his body caused by taking the pills. This shows that he has super drug development capabilities. What do you need me to do? Dongfang asked. He knew that there was no such thing as unconditional kindness in this world. Especially considering his identity as a holy envoy of the Red Cloud Church, there was even less reason to enjoy such treatment. You are a smart man. Dongfang Chen admired him. He understood as soon as he was told immediately. Dongfang Chen explained his plan. Are you kidding me? Dongfang asked, his mouth agape in surprise after hearing Dongfang Chen's plan. Do I look like I'm kidding? Dongfang Chen looked at him and asked, but I really don't understand. What are you trying to gain by doing this? Dongfang said, you don't need to worry about that. Now tell me your decision. Dongfang Chen said, okay. I'll do it. Dongfang hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and replied, a wise choice. You rest here for a few days, I need to prepare some props, Dongfang Chen said before leaving. A few days later, June 18, 2055 AD, afternoon, Dongfang Chen sent a plane to take Dongfang back to the southeast military region. Xiao Chen, what are you doing? Why did you send him back to me again? Zhongzhen Yu asked on the phone when he saw Dongfang being sent back. This person doesn't know what's good for him and is unwilling to cooperate. You can handle it as you see fit, Dongfang Chen replied. I knew it, this person is after all from the Red Cloud Church. How could it be so easy to make him listen to you? But this is also good. If he cooperates on the surface but engages in petty tricks behind your back, you will suffer even greater losses. Zhongzhen Yu comforted him. Yes. Commander Zhong is right, then I'll have to trouble you, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay. That's it then. Zhongzhen Yu hung up the phone. Someone come, drag him out and execute him by firing squad, Zhongzhen Yu ordered after hanging up the phone. Yes, the soldier obeyed and escorted the man out. A few minutes later, report, Commander, the prisoner has escaped. A soldier hurriedly ran in to report. What? With so many people watching, he still managed to escape. Zhongzhen Yu was furious. That prisoner knows magic. Our soldiers were knocked unconscious in an instant. The soldier replied guiltily. He also knew that no one would believe him if he said this, but that was what he saw with his own eyes. Knows magic? A variant. Zhongzhen Yu was a little confused. If this holy envoy number 3 was a variant, how could he have been easily captured in the first place? Commander, you should go take a look. The situation at the scene is a bit strange, the soldier continued. Go. Zhongzhen Yu immediately left the office. More than a dozen soldiers at the scene were still unconscious, and several medical staff had just arrived and were doing examinations. Several bright red characters were written on the gray walls of the execution ground. Heaven and earth are unkind, all things will perish. Only my red lotus can redeem all beings, and a red lotus flower was painted on the forehead of every unconscious soldier. Damn heretical cultists. Zhongzhen Yu was furious. He suddenly remembered that during the interrogation, Holy Envoy number 3 mentioned that he had a daughter in the Suiyang settlement. Now that he has escaped, he will definitely go to the Suiyang settlement to find his daughter as soon as possible. Order the assault team to quickly go to the Suiyang settlement and find this person at all costs. Zhongzhen Yu ordered. Mazao City, Suiyang settlement. Lord, when Dongfang returned to the Suiyang settlement, there were already 18 people waiting at the designated location. One of them was Yunke. Choose Hangping. Is everything clear? Dongfang asked. It's clear, the boss has already explained it. I didn't expect that we would have a day to fight side by side, Chu Hangping replied. All of this is thanks to you. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid I would already be a corpse, Wan Peng said. All right. Let's not exchange pleasantries. Time is tight. I'm afraid the people from the southeast military region will arrive soon, Chu Hangping said. Okay. Let's go. With Wan Peng's order, 18 people followed him and left quickly. His daughter, Yang, was also taken away. These 18 people were from the first batch of sleepers. The second batch of trainees has not yet completed their training, and they have just become variants, so their abilities are limited. Therefore, there was no other way. Dongfang Chen could only select 18 people without special sleeper identities from the first batch of sleepers to cooperate with Wan Peng to complete this plan. In the past few days, the 18 selected people had arrived at the Suyang settlement one after another by plane, waiting for Wan Peng to arrive. Chapter 177 Muddy Waters. Each settlement had essentially deployed a miniature queen bee. Under these circumstances, the Redcoats had no way of achieving their goal of controlling the settlements by using controlled zombies to cause destruction. But here's the problem. Dongfang Chen understood that if the Redcoats discovered this method was ineffective, they would definitely change their plans. During the last interrogation, Saint Envoy No. 1 inadvertently revealed this point. He said that the Redcoat higher-ups might collectively eliminate their entire line. What does this indicate? It's highly possible that the controlled zombie plan would be completely abandoned. This definitely wouldn't work. If the Redcoats didn't launch zombie attacks time and time again, how could Dongfang Chen quickly gather enough crystal cores for branch construction? At this time, he was hoping that the Saint Envoy could live a little longer. Without the Saint Envoy actively sending zombies to his door, the speed of acquiring crystal cores would be much slower. Besides, without external threats, how could the people in the settlements have a sense of crisis, and how could they have the urgent desire to build underground bases? If there was no urgent desire to build underground bases, how could his countdown mission be completed on schedule? He couldn't possibly act like a nanny, doing everything for them and building the underground bases himself. That would only breed a group of lazy people who waited for death while living comfortably. Therefore, the settlements had to want to build underground bases themselves. They had to spend their own money and resources to build them. He could only blame the Redcoats for being such weak opponents and for acting too slowly. That's why Dongfang Chen came up with this plan that killed 3 birds with 1 stone. He had Wan Peng establish a new cult called the Red Lotus Sect. He also sent 18 sleepers to act as protectors of the Red Lotus Sect, and the purpose of establishing this Red Lotus Sect was to oppose the Redcoats with such an opponent appearing out of nowhere. The waters would be muddied. He told Wan Peng that the members of the Red Lotus sect should only absorb Redcoat followers, not civilians. If the Redcoats learned that the members of the Red Lotus sect, from the sect leader down, were all defectors from the Redcoats, what would their reaction be? They would definitely spare no expense to eliminate the Red Lotus sect. The appearance of the Red Lotus sect would inevitably stimulate the Redcoats. With conflict, there would be opportunities to harvest crystal cores. The Red Lotus sect would also spread the doomsday theory, bringing some chaos to the settlements. Of course, the performance couldn't be too exaggerated, as long as it prevented those settlements from being peaceful. Once people had a sense of crisis, the Chamber of Commerce's undertaking of underground base construction would proceed smoothly. It weakened the Redcoats' power, diverted their attention, provided another way to obtain crystal cores, and created conditions for completing the plan. What else could you call it but killing 3 birds with 1 stone? In peacetime, it would definitely be wrong to deliberately create chaos. But this is the apocalypse. No matter what method is used, as long as the starting point and the ultimate goal are good, then it's fine. When the soldiers of the southeast military region rushed to the Suyang settlement, Wan Peng and the others had already left. Before leaving, they also left a mark on the city wall that was still those words, "Heaven and earth are ruthless, all things will perish. Only the Red Lotus can redeem all living beings." The soldier reported the situation to Zhong Zhenyu. After hearing this, Zhong Zhenyu was both angry and annoyed. He mistakenly thought that the words were deliberately written for him to see, with the purpose of humiliating him, but a fish had already entered the sea, and it was not easy to catch them. At the moment, he could only order the soldiers to return temporarily. The Red Lotus sect was newly established and not yet enough to become a threat to the Redcoats, nor was it enough to threaten the safety of the settlements. Therefore, Dongfang Chen's first step was to build momentum. He had already designed and printed a large number of leaflets and built a secret stronghold for them in Mazhao City as the Red Lotus Sect's base camp. So, in the following period, The various settlements were in an uproar. Leaflets were scattered all over the sky. The people spreading the leaflets were elusive, and no one could catch them. The content of the leaflets mainly conveyed the following information to the public. 1. The Red Lotus sect is the predecessor of the Red Coats. 2. The slogan of the Red Lotus sect, heaven and earth are ruthless, all things will perish. Only the Red Lotus can redeem all living beings. 3. Why will all things perish? Because the apocalypse is coming, all lives will die, and no one can escape. If you want to live, you can only join the Red Lotus sect. 4. The people of the Redcoats are thieves. They plagiarize the teachings of the Red Lotus sect and are traitors to the Red Lotus sect and openly warn those Redcoats to quickly rein in their horses and return to the embrace of the Red Lotus sect. 5. They have a method to treat the side effects of the medicinal pills and can save them because the leaflets revealed a lot of information against the Redcoats. Some settlement leaders specially gathered to do a research discussion. Some people think that the enemy of the enemy is a friend. The Redcoats are the common enemy of mankind, and the Red Lotus sect and the Redcoats are mortal enemies, so they should be friends of the settlement. Some people held opposing views. The doctrine spread by the Red Lotus sect is the doomsday theory, which will threaten the peace and stability of the settlements and should be regarded as a cult organization. The two views were evenly matched, and everyone could not discuss a result for a while. Chapter 178. Everyone was led astray. How did a Red Lotus Society pop up again? Wasn't that escaped holy envoy from the Scarlet Robe Society? How did he join the Red Lotus Society so quickly? Zhongzhenyu was at a loss for words as he looked at the intelligence report on his desk. Could Dongfang Chen be behind this? Zhongzhenyu suddenly had this thought because all of this happened after Dongfang Chen sent back the escaped holy envoy, but upon closer inspection, it seemed impossible. He believed that the Scarlet Robe Society was no match for Dongfang Chen, so Dongfang Chen had no reason to do this. The Scarlet Robe Society actually split off from the Red Lotus Society. Then why haven't we heard of it before? Zhongzhenyu was completely overwhelmed. It was too chaotic, and he couldn't make heads or tails of it. After a series of discussions with other senior military officers, Zhongzhenyu finally decided to ignore it for the time being. As the saying goes, let dogs fight and get a mouthful of fur. Let the Red Lotus Society and the Scarlet Robe Society continue to fight, preferably to the point of mutual destruction. This would be a good thing for everyone, and just like that, everyone was led astray, and the Red Lotus Society took root in the cracks. June 23, 2055 AD. On this morning, the resettlement area was the same as the previous few days. New leaflets were scattered around, flying everywhere, but careful observers noticed that today's content was different from the past. This was a public announcement. It said that the Red Lotus Society would hold a salvation ceremony on June 29 to redeem the persecuted members of the Scarlet Robe Society. Those who were redeemed would be able to get rid of the torment of illness and return to the physique and appearance of normal people. Ordinary people didn't know what exactly happened to the people of the Scarlet Robe Society or why they needed to be redeemed. However, they could understand from this information that the people of the Scarlet Robe Society were mostly not normal people. This was a relatively big blow to the Scarlet Robe Society. The lower-level devotees, messengers, and followers had never seen the true faces of the divine envoys, and now they realized that the superiors of the divine envoys were the holy envoys. After seeing the content on the leaflets, they began to suspect that the divine envoys had experienced serious side effects after taking the medicine, causing their appearances to change. That's why they wore masks and cloaks, and those divine envoys and holy envoys who saw the leaflets weren't in a much better state. Either they had been tormented by pain and had always been concerned about their appearance. Before joining the Scarlet Robe Society, they were just ordinary people and didn't have any particularly strong faith in the Scarlet Robe Society. They succumbed to the Scarlet Robe Society only because they were controlled by drugs. It was precisely because of this that the method of distributing leaflets was able to affect them. The leaflet also stated that the location of the ceremony was in the urban area of Moscow City. The time was 23:30 at night. Because the Red Lotus Society had always been elusive, the people of the Scarlet Robe Society had also been trying to find their whereabouts these past few days, but they hadn't found a single clue. Therefore, the salvation ceremony on the evening of June 29 would become the first official confrontation between the two sects. Salvation ceremony. A young man said with a frown. Several people wearing masks and blood-red cloaks stood beside him. That's right, this young man was the Scarlet Robe Society's holy son, who had previously gone to Binjiang and had a brief encounter with Dongfang Chen. The few people standing beside him were undoubtedly holy envoys. Because the clothes of the holy envoys and the divine envoys were different, the cloaks of the divine envoys were dark red, While the holy envoys were blood red, Holy Son, what should we do next? A holy envoy asked. Closely monitor the movements around the urban area of Moscow City these few days. If you discover any suspicious people, capture them immediately. I have two requirements. First, those who betray the Scarlet Robe Society will be killed without exception. Second, find out the background of this Red Lotus Society and see who exactly is playing tricks. The Holy Son instructed. It seemed that this Holy Son was also aware that the content on the leaflets had just hit the soft spot of the holy envoys and divine envoys in the sect. If they didn't take ruthless measures, more and more people would defect from the Scarlet Robe Society. This would be very detrimental to them. Holy Son, the leaflet says that our holy sect originated from the Red Lotus Society. Is that true? A holy envoy couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. The Holy Son looked at the holy envoy who asked the question, revealing a harmless smile. You are a holy envoy, yet you would ask such an idiotic question. I can answer you. The holy sect has a very powerful background that cannot be compared to some nonsensical Red Lotus Society. Do you understand? The Holy Son explained. Understood. Seeing the Holy Son's eyes suddenly widen, he was a little scared and replied tremblingly, good that you understand. Since you understand, you can go die. How can someone with such an unwavering mind hold the position of holy envoy? The Holy Son said. The holy envoy suddenly shouted, but before he could say anything, he fell to the ground and died. The other holy envoys shuddered in fright. Did you see that? This is the consequence of questioning the holy sect, the Holy Son warned coldly. Yes, the few people said in unison, no longer speaking further. Okay. Go, keep a close watch on Moscow City for me. I want this damn Red Lotus Society to disappear completely in Moscow, the Holy Son said. Yes. Chapter 179 Zhuo Wenqin's Test. Commander, since the Red Lotus sect plans to hold some kind of salvation ceremony in Moscow, it means their headquarters might be there. Should we send people over to wipe them out in one fell swoop? A division commander asked. No need. Let's put the Red Lotus sect's matter aside for now. I'm actually curious to see if the Red Robe sect's people will show up then, Zhongzhen Yu said, but if we let them be, won't that encourage their arrogance? The division commander asked. It doesn't matter, let them make noise, the more they make noise the better. As long as they don't involve the public, the bigger the commotion, the more beneficial it is to us, Zhongzhen Yu said, waving his hand. Yes, the division commander said no more. Report, enter, reporting, Commander, Moscow City's Mayor Zhuo Wenqin has arrived and wishes to see you, the soldier reported. Oh? Alright, bring him in. Zhongzhen Yu replied he understood Zhuo Wenqin's purpose. He must also be here for the Red Lotus sect's matter. Commander Zhuang, long time no see, Zhuo Wenqin said enthusiastically as he entered. Mayor Zhuo, what brings you to me today? Zhongzhen Yu asked. Commander Zhuang, I've come today specifically to thank you. I understand that I was able to take the position of mayor of Moscow City and can currently be in charge of the Suyang resettlement camp thanks to your recommendation in the council, Zhuo Wenqin said. Just a casual remark, it's also Mayor Zhuo's luck. The zombie siege happened to occur in Moscow last time, and you were also in Moscow, so I just mentioned it in passing, Zhongzhen Yu said with a smile. It's a small matter to you, but to us, it's a major event that determines our future and destiny. These 2 bottles of wine were given to me by my old partner, Guang Kaiming, before I took office in Suyang. I don't usually drink, so I brought them along for you, Zhuo Wenqin said, placing the wine beside the desk. Mayor Zhuo, you're too kind, Zhongzhen Yu said with a smile, not refusing. He saw that it wasn't any particularly expensive wine, so there was no need to reject the other party's good intentions. Hey, it's nothing good, I just hope Commander Zhuang doesn't mind, Zhuo Wenqin said with a smile. Not at all. Mayor Zhuo, please have a seat. Alright, Zhuo Wenqin sat down in front of the desk. Mayor Zhuo, I presume you have other matters to discuss today, Zhongzhen Yu asked. Indeed, I can't hide anything from Commander Zhuang. It's like this, I don't know if you've heard of the Red Lotus sect, Zhuo Wenqin asked. Red Lotus sect? No, I haven't, Zhongzhen Yu replied after pretending to think for a while. Since he didn't want to participate in this matter, it was best to distance himself completely. He couldn't possibly tell him that people from the Red Lotus sect had escaped from his place a few days ago, could he? If that were the case, it would be a bit difficult for him to remain uninvolved. Is that so? Then I'll briefly report the situation to you. Zhuo Wenqin was somewhat surprised by Zhongzhen Yu's answer. As far as he knew, People from the Red Lotus sect were scattering leaflets in large quantities in many resettlement camps every day. As the supreme commander of the Southeast Military Region, it was impossible for Zhuang Zhenyu not to have even this much information. "Alright, Mayor Zhuo, please speak," Zhuang Zhenyu said, appearing very serious. A week ago, a large number of leaflets suddenly appeared on the streets of the resettlement camp. The leaflets were distributed by a sect calling itself the Red Lotus sect, which repeatedly claimed that the apocalypse was coming, and so on. Zhuo Wenxin said, "Oh? Is that so? Do you have one with you?" Zhuang Zhenyu asked. "Oh, yes." Zhuo Wenxin took out a leaflet from his briefcase and handed it over. Zhuang Zhenyu took the leaflet and looked at it with great interest. "There's nothing to this. It just looks like an internal conflict between the Red Lotus sect and the Red Robe sect," Zhuang Zhenyu said after reading it. "Please take a look at this one as well." Zhuo Wenxin handed over another leaflet. Zhuang Zhenyu took it and continued to read. "There's nothing to this either. Mayor Zhuo, not that I'm saying anything, but you shouldn't meddle in matters of cults. Just manage your resettlement camp well," Zhuang Zhenyu said. "Commander Zhuang is probably overlooking the fact that, besides being the person in charge of the Suiyang resettlement camp, I am also the mayor of Mazhao City. Now that such a big thing has happened in Mazhao, it's impossible for me not to have any stance," Zhuo Wenxin said with difficulty. "What you say is also true. Then what do you plan to do?" Zhuang Zhenyu nodded in agreement. "I've come this time to hear Commander Zhuang's opinion. If you plan to annihilate the cult, my Suiyang resettlement camp is willing to fully cooperate," Zhuo Wenxin said upon hearing this. Zhuang Zhenyu couldn't help but frown. Although Zhuo Wenxin's words were very subtle, he had clearly overstepped his bounds. His true purpose was to inquire about the military's next course of action. "Oh? How does Mayor Zhuo plan to fully cooperate?" Zhuang Zhenyu asked, his tone already revealing displeasure. "It's like this. I plan to negotiate with the Huotong Chamber of Commerce to borrow some funds to purchase a batch of weapons and equipment to form a militia as soon as possible. We will strive to launch an encirclement and suppression campaign against occult members hiding in Mazhao City before June 29, Zhuo Wenxin stated his plan. Chapter 180 Zhuang Zhenyu, S-Tips. "Would you be doing the Redcoats a great favor by doing that?" Zhuang Zhenyu asked. It seems like you're right." Zhuo Wenxin was stunned by the question, and replied after a moment of consideration, "If Commander Zhuang hadn't reminded me, I would have made a big mistake." "Then, according to you, what should we do about this matter?" Zhuo Wenxin continued to ask. "I'm just saying. Since the last time the resettlement area had autonomy issues, I basically don't care about these things anymore. I believe Mayor Zhuo understands what I mean." Zhuang Zhenyu said Zhuang Zhenyu's meaning was that he would not interfere with this matter, and they could do whatever they wanted. It had nothing to do with him. "Oh. I understand. If that's the case, then I won't bother you any longer," Zhuo Wenxin said, standing up to take his leave. "Mayor Zhuo, as long as you don't get confused on major issues of principle, I think you don't need to worry too much about other things." Zhuang Zhenyu advised the meaning of his reminder was to imply that Zhuo Wenxin didn't need to make a big fuss, and just treat it as if nothing had happened. As for the troubles in Mazhao City, no one would blame him. "Thank you for the reminder, Commander Zhuang. Then I'll take my leave," Zhuo Wenxin said, and stood up to leave. The Clock Tower district of Mazhao City is the core area. The Red Lotus Church's stronghold is located here. Dongfang Chen had already had them deploy a miniature queen bee here and advance the Red Lotus Church leader, Wang Peng, and the 18 protectors, including Chu Xiangping, have been busy these past few days. In the mornings, they mainly took airplanes to scatter leaflets to dozens of nearby resettlement areas. In the evenings, they deliberately made some noise to attract the surrounding zombies. As soon as these zombies came near the stronghold, they would be eliminated by the queen bee. In the past few days, they had also discovered that many Redcoat members had gathered on the outskirts of Mazhao City. They were scattered at various intersections leading into the city, their purpose naturally being to intercept any possible rebellious divine envoys and holy envoys. The Redcoats' management was relatively loose, and mainly relied on drug control. Therefore, even they themselves were not sure whether anyone would rebel, or how many people would rebel. "Stop. Where do you come from?" At a certain intersection, 5 holy envoys stopped a person. This person was also wearing a blood-red cloak, obviously also a holy envoy. "Where I come from is none of your business. Please move aside," the holy envoy who was stopped said. "The Holy Sun has ordered that any holy church members attempting to enter Mazhao City are to be killed without exception. Brothers, attack, the holy envoys stopped talking and directly attacked. The holy envoy who was attacked was not flustered. He stood with his legs in a horse stance, slightly bent, and pushed forward with both hands. Suddenly, sand and stones flew, and the surrounding large and small stones flew towards the attacking holy envoys. The holy envoys hurriedly stopped their attacks, protecting their chests with their hands, blocking the flying stones. 3 people were hit by relatively large stones and were immediately knocked back. The other 2 were also frequently hit by a large number of small stones and had to retreat as well. How can he be so strong? The holy envoys were surprised after taking the pills. Although there were side effects, their abilities had improved a lot. Ordinary people were simply no match for them. However, the effect of this drug to stimulate abilities was not very strong. If they wanted to continuously improve their strength, they had to continue to use the drug. So, in essence, they were only half mutants. But the holy envoy in front of them, his ability was obviously that of a true mutant. You are no match for me. Hurry up and move aside, the holy envoy said. HMPH. There's only death for betraying the redcoats. One of the holy envoys blocking the way stubbornly said, haha. You're making me laugh. I want to ask you all, what benefits have the redcoats given you that you are willing to work for them? They tricked me into going there and turned me into this inhuman monster. I have hated them for a long time. I used to want to live, and there was no way out. Now it's different, we have the opportunity to choose again, don't we? The holy envoy said. Stop spreading rumors here. No matter what you say, you won't be able to pass through here today. The stubborn holy envoy completely ignored his words. HMPH. Hopeless. What about you guys? Do you think the same way as him? The holy envoy asked. The other 4 holy envoys looked at each other, and no one spoke. Holy envoys are different from divine envoys. Divine envoys were all infected with a virus and were able to survive after taking the pills, so their resentment towards the redcoats was not great. But they couldn't be said to be very loyal. After all, their level was not high enough, and they didn't know much about the redcoats. But most of the holy envoys were tricked into going there. They were forced to drink holy water and take pills. They were originally healthy people, but they ended up like this. So many people harbored resentment in their hearts. Seeing that the other 4 holy envoys blocking the way did not speak, the holy envoy knew that they were somewhat shaken, so he continued to incite them. I have a suggestion, you might as well listen. The only one stopping us now is him. As long as we work together to take him down, we can successfully enter the city. This is your only chance. You have to think carefully about whether or not to seize it, the holy envoy provoked. Chapter 181. Red Lotus Rises. The stubborn holy envoy grew agitated upon hearing this. He anxiously looked at the 4 beside him and said, don't be fooled by him. Without the medicine, you won't be able to survive. The Red Lotus sect has made it very clear that they can cure the after effects on our bodies, and we will never need this damned medicine again. We will be able to become normal people and start a new life. Don't hesitate, join forces with me and kill him, said the holy envoy. The others didn't know what to do, standing there hesitating. If you dare to rebel, I will definitely inform the Holy Sun and have you all executed. The stubborn holy envoy threatened. He shouldn't have threatened them. This threat completely frightened them. Ho. Do you understand now? Those holy sons act capriciously and cruelly, never treating us like human beings. If you don't rebel, the only thing waiting for you is death. What are you waiting for? Attack. After speaking, the holy envoy took the lead and attacked the stubborn holy envoy. The stubborn holy envoy was no match for him alone and was knocked away with one move. What are you waiting for? Attack. The holy envoy shouted. The hesitation of the several holy envoys had already given others an excuse. Now they had no choice but to rebel. The 4 looked at each other, nodded, and attacked the stubborn holy envoy, directly ending his life in this way. The 4 holy envoys who had blocked the road, led by another holy envoy, quickly ran towards the city center. This scene was repeatedly playing out in the suburbs soon. 7 or 8 groups of holy envoys responsible for blocking the way joined the ranks of the rebels. Waste. All waste. The Holy Sun was furious when he heard that many holy envoys could no longer be contacted. He had sent so many holy envoys to encircle and suppress the rebels within his own sect, but many people had been turned. This was simply a preposterous joke. He would never allow the Red Lotus sect to successfully hold the salvation ritual. Whether it was true or false, as long as the Red Lotus sect's salvation ritual was held, it would be a slap in the face to their Red Robe sect. The followers below were not clear, but as the Holy Sun, he was clear. The Red Lotus sect was just a ridiculous plagiarist and could not be compared with his own holy sect. He decided that no matter the cost, he must kill all the rebels in Moscow, so he ordered the holy envoys in the surrounding 17 cities to travel day and night, driving all the zombies in their cities towards Moscow, and they must arrive before the 29th. He needed to quell the Red Lotus sect's matter as soon as possible to give an explanation to his own holy sect. June 29 arrived quickly inside the Red Lotus sect's stronghold in the Bell Tower district of Moscow City. After continuously hunting crystal nuclei these past few days, the queen bee had developed quite well. Enough to cope with the salvation ritual to be held tonight. More than 30 holy envoys who had rebelled had also gathered here in order to maintain relative mystery. Wangpeng and his group did not directly contact these holy envoys. Everyone was waiting for the arrival of the night. This night was tugging at everyone's heartstrings. The military region and the resettlement camp did not send anyone over. They did not want to participate in this matter. The Red Robe sect also unusually did not send anyone to sneak into the city. Perhaps because they were worried that more people would be turned. The sun gradually set, and night fell. Zhang Zhangyu paced back and forth in his office, feeling uneasy. The command headquarters of the resettlement camp was full of people, all frowning. Although they did not send scouts out, they stubbornly waited for news that might not even arrive. Just after nightfall, large numbers of zombies quickly rushed towards the core area of Moscow City. They had begun their charge. Are you ready? Wangpeng asked. Everything is ready, Chu Zhangping replied. Good. Let this karma Red Lotus burn away all the evil in the world, Wangpeng said. Well said. I really didn't misjudge you. Chu Zhangping praised. The two raised their hands and shook them tightly. 8:30 p.m. The vanguard of the zombies had arrived in the Bell Tower district. At this time, there were still 3 hours before the start of the salvation ritual. Red Lotus ascends. Wangpeng ordered a anti-gravity drone, modified into the shape of a red lotus, quickly started and then quietly ascended into the air. Turn on the lights. At Wangpeng's command, the red light on the outside of the Red Lotus shone brightly, turning the area within a 1-kilometer radius into a scarlet ocean. A group of Red Robe sect rebels gathered not far away were completely shocked by this sudden scene. A miracle. It's really a miracle. Faced with such visual impact, they had completely abandoned their inherent knowledge. Someone took the lead and knelt down, prostrating themselves in worship. When the other holy envoys saw this, they all followed suit and knelt down. Of course, this Red Lotus was just for show. It could neither eliminate zombies nor heal those holy envoys. Its only function was to increase the sense of ritual. Chapter 182 Acting in full. The zombies, illuminated by the Red Lotus, turned a bloody crimson. They came from all directions, rushing rapidly towards the Lotus's location. 800 meters, 600 meters, 400 meters, closer and closer. Just as the zombies stepped within the 200-meter range, something strange happened. As if there was some kind of magic spell at the 200-meter mark. Any zombie that stepped into that range instantly vanished without a trace. It was as if they were completely decomposed by those red rays of light. Even though Wangpeng already knew what was happening, he couldn't help but be deeply shocked by the scene. Too strong. What exactly is buried in the ground? These zombies are like ashes that can be smoothed out at will in front of it. This was Wangpeng's thought at that moment. This, truly a miracle. Under its illumination, all evil spirits have nowhere to hide. The holy envoys watching from the side praised repeatedly. In reality, this was just the nano-robots released by the Micro Queen executing their decomposition task. In the past few days, Wangpeng and the protectors had been making noise every night to track the surrounding zombies, all to help the Queen decompose the zombies and obtain crystal cores. The energy from the crystal cores could be used to create more nano-robots. They were completely following Dongfang Chen's instructions. They didn't fully understand the Queen or the nano-robots. They only knew that the thing buried in the ground could decompose zombies and protect the stronghold's safety. Although the 18 infiltrators were already veterans of the base, it was the first time they had seen such a scene up close. They knew that Dongfang Chen had the ability to eliminate zombies with a snap of his fingers, but only after seeing it firsthand did they realize how strange and powerful such an ability was. What's going on? Why did the zombies disappear? Is that really a Red Lotus? The holy envoys of the Red Robe sect, who were secretly manipulating the zombies in the dark, felt that something was wrong. They saw a red object floating in the distance, radiating a dazzling red glow. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was a Red Lotus. The red light emitted by the Red Lotus shone on the ground, and the zombies disappeared inexplicably. This situation couldn't help but make people feel that the Red Lotus possessed supreme magic power. They had no choice but to issue instructions to the zombies, telling them to stop outside the danger zone and not charge inward anymore. It was now 21:10 in the evening. And there were still more than 2 hours before the start of the redemption ritual, so they could wait a little longer. In the 40 minutes from 2030 to now, a thick layer of crystal cores had already been scattered on the ground within a 200-meter radius centered on the Red Lotus. Play the audio, Wang Peng ordered. Seeing that the zombies had stopped charging inward, Wang Peng understood that many holy envoys were watching from the periphery. He had experience with this, because not long ago, he had also been one of them. The Red Lotus aircraft began to play the pre-recorded audio. Heaven and earth are unfeeling, all things will perish, only our Red Lotus can redeem all living beings. The Red Robe sect steals our Red Lotus doctrines, acts perversely, and poisons living beings. Its sins deserve death. You, with your mortal eyes, are ignorant of the truth. And your sins are temporarily forgiven, but do not be deluded and help the wicked. Quickly come forward to worship, convert to the Red Lotus, to atone for your sins. The holy envoys watching from the sidelines couldn't help but feel a little guilty after seeing this scene compared to the Red Lotus sect's scene. The Red Robe sect was indeed not even worthy of being dog shit. This is what a holy sect should look like. This is the strength that a holy sect should have. This is the compassion that a holy sect should have. They basically already believed that the Red Robe sect had stolen the Red Lotus sect's doctrines and created a counterfeit sect, and they had unfortunately joined such a counterfeit sect. Acting mysterious, suddenly someone shouted loudly, and then quickly flew towards the Red Lotus. This person was none other than the young Holy Sun. Action. Wang Peng ordered. The 18 infiltrator protectors had been waiting for a long time, and upon receiving the order, they flew out together. Clang clang clang, bang bang bang. Crack crack crack. The 18 people attacked at the same time, each with different abilities and varied moves. There was no way the Holy Sun could withstand so many attacks alone, so he could only retreat in a panic. The acting had to be complete. These 18 protectors were also wearing cloaks, but they were bright red, and even brighter red than the holy envoys' cloaks to avoid exposing their combat suits. They also wore masks on their faces. The Holy Sun retreated 200 meters before standing still. At this time, he was still more than 400 meters away from the center of the Red Lotus. Who goes there? How dare you attempt to steal the Red Lotus sect's magic artifact? Chu Hangping shouted. Chu Hangping's words clearly had the meaning of slander. The other party only wanted to destroy it. Where was there any intention to steal it? But since they wanted to throw mud at the Red Robe sect, they might as well go all the way and tell lies. Very naturally, the Holy Sun was also depressed at this time. Steal? Impossible. I didn't. Don't talk nonsense. The holy envoys watching from the periphery were obviously deceived by the scene in front of them. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183, Red Lotus is considered a sacred artifact. I'll be damned. This is solid proof. The Red Robe sect really are thieves. This Holy Sun actually wants to steal someone else's magical artifact. The holy envoy's conviction deepened. It was now undeniable that the Red Robe sect plagiarized the teachings of others. This isn't stealing, it's outright robbery. The Red Robe sect really isn't anything good. A rebel holy envoy who was observing from the sidelines had already reached this conclusion. A bunch of rabble, daring to openly slander the holy sect's Holy Sun, truly deserve to die, the Holy Sun said viciously. Humph. Only my Red Lotus sect is worthy of being called a holy sect. Are you even worthy? Chu Hangping said, all while conversing with the Holy Sun and leading the charge. Ignorance is bliss. Then let me show you the power of the holy sect. As he spoke, the Holy Sun placed his left palm in front of his chest, extended 2 fingers of his right hand, and placed them on his left palm, chanting, Amabali Kuosa, Yusa Boni Lai. Amabali Kuosa, Yusa Boni Lai. The 18 Dharma protectors looked at each other, not knowing what this Holy Sun was mumbling about. Hasik. Suddenly, the Holy Sun pointed forward with his 2 fingers, and an unforeseen event occurred. The ground shook violently, and a gigantic beetle broke out of the ground. How big was it? At least 10 meters long and over 2 meters tall. Its body was dark brown. The carapace on its back was composed of cyan brown, adorned with some white spots. The pattern was like a painting of stars dotted in the night sky. Of course, no one would be in the mood to appreciate this painting. The surrounding people felt their hair stand on end when they saw this enormous beetle. The carapace was shiny and glossy, reflecting the red light emitted by the Red Lotus. With a leap, the Holy Sun flew onto the beetle's back. Luha. The Holy Sun pointed forward. Although the surrounding people didn't understand what he was saying, They could guess that he was ordering the large beetle to charge forward. The 18 Dharma protectors looked at each other, not worried at all. Isn't this just a coincidence? Isn't this just walking right into our trap? If you were flying in the sky, attacking the Red Lotus aircraft, we would have to put in some effort. But you summoned a beetle, aren't you just offering yourself up? This was the Dharma protectors' true thought. The position they were standing in was exactly within the 200-meter range. Even if they stood still, this beetle probably wouldn't be able to hurt them, so they nodded to each other, reaching a tacit understanding. He's determined to show off, traveling 1,000 miles to deliver ahead. A very thoughtful gift. The Holy Sun had already ordered the beetle to charge, but the 18 people standing in front showed no reaction at all. This was unreasonable. The Holy Sun suddenly had an ominous premonition, but he didn't know what their reliance was. The arrow was on the string and had to be released. No matter what their reliance was, he would never retreat. If he retreated, the holy envoys watching from the sidelines would definitely defect to the Red Lotus sect without hesitation. This was something he absolutely couldn't allow. Soon, the beetle arrived within the 200-meter range. The crystal cores scattered on the ground clearly marked this boundary line. Squeak! As soon as it stepped into the 200-meter boundary, the beetle began to emit a sharp, ear-piercing cry. Its body trembled violently. The Holy Sun lost his balance and quickly leaped up and back. This sudden scene startled him greatly. The beetle was now rolling on the ground. Everyone could tell that it had been stimulated by something and was not long for this world. Within a minute, this large beetle, over 10 meters long, had completely flipped over, its belly facing the sky, lying motionless on the ground. Why wasn't the beetle completely decomposed by the nanobots? Because decomposing this big guy would consume too much energy, and there were no crystal cores to be harvested. Therefore, the queen bee only destroyed its nervous system. PFFT. The Holy Sun spat out a mouthful of blood. The beetle's death must have affected him. Hiss! Everyone gasped. What happened? Why did this big bug die? The crowd didn't understand. They all looked to the sky, understanding that it was the red light emitted by the Red Lotus that killed it. What they didn't know was that the beetle's death had nothing to do with the red light. But the goal was to create this mysterious, bizarre, and powerful effect. It took a long time for the Holy Sun to recover from his shock. He also looked to the sky, a divine artifact. I didn't expect it to really be a divine artifact. We must seize this Red Lotus. The Holy Sun became greedy, but he knew that his own beetle was dead, and he was injured as a result. If he wanted to snatch the Red Lotus from the other party at this time, he had to think of a way. All holy envoys, listen to my order. Release the red curtain to block the red light. The Holy Sun ordered loudly. Well, I have to say that the Holy Sun's mind is quite sharp. But unfortunately, he got the direction wrong. Upon hearing the order, the holy envoys appeared one after another, offering up the red curtain and flying towards the Red Lotus under the cover of the red curtain. The red light was indeed weakened a lot. Order the zombies to attack. The Holy Sun issued the order again. The 18 Dharma protectors stood there without moving, not taking the other party's plan seriously at all. Chapter 184. Level 3 Mutant. Waves of zombies surged toward the circle, but as each batch entered, they gradually disappeared. They could only penetrate about 10 to 20 meters inward. How could this be? The Holy Sun wondered. The red light was clearly weakening, so why wasn't the killing power diminishing? That's not right. The attack must be coming from the ground. The Holy Sun discovered a peculiarity. All the zombies were slowly disappearing from the bottom up. First, their feet vanished, then they lost support and fell forward, and then their entire bodies disappeared. Could there be something strange about the ground? The Holy Sun speculated, but that didn't explain why the beetles died instead of disappearing. No, there's definitely something wrong with the ground. The Holy Sun suddenly realized that he had entered the red light's range once at the beginning. He was fine at the time, but was blocked back by the dozen or so people in front of him. Stop attacking! The Holy Sun shouted. The holy envoys quickly retracted the red curtain. Gasping for breath, it seemed that controlling the red curtain was quite exhausting. The Holy Sun took out a tubular object, pulled a string, and a flare quickly shot into the sky. The flare exploded, releasing a brilliant white light that illuminated the entire city as bright as day. However, it only lasted for a short time, and the sky darkened again. He decided to attack from the air, but he clearly couldn't do it alone. The 18 people on the other side were all mutants, and it wouldn't be easy to deal with them, so he had to call for reinforcements. What? Planning to call for reinforcements? I advise you not to waste your energy. Repent early and convert to the Red Lotus sect. Choose. Hangping laughed. HMPH. Laugh now, you'll be crying in a moment. The Holy Sun sneered. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance to see it. Attack. Chu Hangping said. At Chu Hangping's command, 6 Dharma protectors flew out directly, attacking the Holy Sun. The Holy Sun wasn't to be trifled with. In a one-on-one fight, he was clearly stronger than any of them. But dealing with 6 people at the same time was a bit too much. Ling Yu, what use are you if you can't even handle a few small fries? Suddenly, a shout came from afar. Accompanying the shout, a man with a full beard instantly arrived. At the same time, 6 sharp spears that looked like insect legs shot at the 6 Dharma protectors simultaneously. The spears were too fast, and the 6 people couldn't dodge in time and were all hit because of the protection of their combat suits. The spears didn't penetrate their bodies, but bounced off after the impact and stuck directly into the asphalt road. All 6 Dharma protectors suffered internal injuries from the blow and quickly retreated into the circle. The bearded man uttered a soft sound of surprise. His spears were very sharp. Logically speaking, anyone who was hit should have been easily pierced through. But he never expected that the people in front of him would be fine. Master, this disciple has disgraced you. The Holy Sun was somewhat injured and bowed respectfully. Enduring the pain, the bearded man ignored him and looked at the people in the circle. There's something strange about you. Confess honestly, how did you block my attack? The bearded man asked. Who are you? The Red Lotus sect is handling matters here, so leave quickly, Chu Hangping said. Ha, interesting. A small sect that has only been established for a few days dares to act so arrogantly. The bearded man was amused when Chu Hangping and the others heard this. They couldn't help but feel uneasy. Who is this person? How does he know that the Red Lotus sect has only been established for a few days? Chu Hangping wondered, and then opened his digital eye to contact Dongfang Chen. Dongfang Chen roughly understood what happened. Knowing that the Holy Sun called this person master, he guessed that it might be a higher level figure from the red-clad sect, but he didn't know what level his strength was at, so he issued an order, asking everyone to attack together to test a bearded man's strength. You rebels, how dare you slander the Red Lotus sect? Prepare to die. After receiving the order, Chu Hangping no longer hesitated and attacked with the others. HMPH. Overestimating yourselves, the bearded man sneered. He lifted his hands, and the spear stuck in the ground trembled twice and broke free from the ground, flying into the air. Then, 8 more spears flew out from somewhere, making a total of 14, revolving around the bearded man. Seeing that the 18 people were about to approach, the bearded man pointed at them, and 14 spears flew out together, attacking the crowd. Although they weren't afraid of being pierced, the powerful impact would also injure them. They had no choice but to change direction and quickly dodge when these spears missed. The bearded man hooked his fingers back, and the spears turned around and flew back. From the technique shown in the picture, Dongfang Chen could see that this bearded man must be a mental controller, and his level had reached the 3rd rank. Be careful, this is a 3rd rank mental controller. Dongfang Chen sent his judgment to Chu Hangping. 3rd rank. Chu Hangping was shocked when he saw the message. They thought they were already early mutants, but they were only at the 1st rank now. They didn't expect that a 3rd rank mutant had already appeared. Chapter 185, Moth to Flame Attack. Everyone be careful, this is a rank 3 mental controller. Retreat, Chu Hangping shouted. Everyone dodged the spears and, hearing Chu Hangping's command, quickly retreated into the circle. Looks like you have some knowledge. As long as you kneel and admit defeat, I might consider sparing your lives and recommending you to join the Holy Church, the bearded man said, suspending the 14 spears in the air. So what if you're rank 3? If you dare to run wild in the Red Lotus sect, then be prepared to die, Chu Hangping said, stubborn. Then go to hell. The bearded man extended 2 fingers forward, and the spears flew out again. Chu Hangping looked at everyone, and they nodded, as if they had made some decision. Just as the spears approached, 14 of the 18 people flew directly towards the spears. They didn't dodge, but instead reached out their hands to grab the spears. The spears were originally made from the claws of insects, and the sides were covered with sharp barbs. If they really tried to grab them with their bare hands, not only would they not be able to hold them, but their hands would definitely be ruined. But they were wearing protective suits, so they didn't have to worry about their hands being cut. A bearded man frowned when he saw this. They're actually grabbing the spears with their bare hands. These people have some secrets. He knew that the 18 people in front of him had ordinary combat power. Logically speaking, it was impossible for them to block his spears, so this ability must be achieved with external objects. It was very likely related to the clothes they were wearing. After 14 people controlled the spears, the remaining 4 people rushed directly towards the bearded man. Bang, 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 bang. In an instant, Chu Hangping and the other 4 were directly knocked away. After landing, they covered their chests to relieve the pain, and then charged again, HMPH. Like modest to flame, the bearded man sneered. Bang, 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 bang. The four were knocked away again. The four struggled to get up and charged again. In the face of absolute strength, any struggle is useless, the bearded man mocked. But at this moment, he realized that something was wrong. Where are the other 14 people? They were clearly grabbing my spears just now. No, I can't feel my spears anymore. The bearded man didn't have time to use his mental power to investigate, and the four people attacked again. He could only fire 4 palms in a row to force them back. Bang, 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 bang. The four were knocked away again, so it seems that these people just want to attract my attention through repeated attacks. But what is the purpose? The bearded man realized in an instant. He closed his eyes and felt for the existence of the spears, but he still couldn't feel them in these 2 or 3 seconds. 14 people had rushed towards him from all directions, courting death. The bearded man was completely enraged. Bang, bang. The bearded man paid attention to the movements in every direction at all times, and quickly knocked away one person after another who rushed towards him. But after all, there were too many people and they were too fast, and eventually someone got close. After a protector successfully got close, he held him tightly. The bearded man made several fierce attacks, but failed to knock him down. Then the second, the third, 7 or 8 people surrounded the bearded man tightly, and the battle fell into a stalemate for a while. Master, the Holy Sun shouted and rushed over directly. Seeing this, the remaining 10 people gritted their teeth and pounced, blocking the Holy Sun. Both sides were injured, and several protectors held back the Holy Sun. Chu Hangping slapped down and knocked the Holy Sun away. The Holy Sun vomited blood on the spot. The bearded man lost it. He concentrated his immense power and vented it all at once. The 7 or 8 protectors who were holding him could not support it and were all thrown out. With just this little strength, you want to fight against my holy church? The bearded man stretched his muscles and continued to mock. The situation was basically clear now. All 18 protectors were injured, and the injuries were serious, and they were still struggling on the ground. The Holy Sun was also seriously injured and lying on the ground. Now the only one who could continue fighting was the bearded man alone. Master, the red lotus in the sky is not simple. We must get it, the Holy Sun reminded. After hearing the Holy Sun's words, the bearded man looked up at the sky. Then he lowered his head and said, hand over the control method of the red lotus, and I might consider sparing your lives. Don't even think about it. You thieves, stealing the teachings of my red lotus sect, and now you want to seize my sect's sacred artifact. We will never let you succeed. Chu Hangping shouted, you're about to die, and you're still talking nonsense. Then you can go to hell, the bearded man said, gritting his teeth. Stop, another voice sounded. The bearded man stopped his movements and looked towards the voice. I saw a person wearing a gold-trimmed blood-red cloak, standing in the air under the red lotus. This person was Wanpeng. Who are you? The bearded man asked. Evil is not eliminated, the red lotus does not rest. You are guilty of heinous crimes, and your hands are covered in blood. Now, only by quickly converting can you save your lives. Wanpeng said. His voice was amplified by the red lotus aircraft, so what he said at this time was like heavenly music, touching people's hearts. The bearded man frowned and pondered. Too weird. How could this voice be so loud? How powerful would he have to be? Chapter 186. Wanpeng's highlight moment. The redemption ritual is about to begin. Those who are lost, come forward and worship. Wanpeng spoke again. Those holy envoys who had already rebelled quickly ran to the red lotus and knelt down in worship. Traitors. All of you are traitors. The Holy Sun watched this scene and cursed through gritted teeth. Red lotus karmic fire, burn away all evil. Wanpeng waved his right hand forward gently, his voice resounding through the heavens. Suddenly, the red lotus light shone brightly, illuminating an even wider area. The holy envoys watching from afar, along with the bearded man and the Holy Sun, all squinted their eyes on the ground. The 200-meter radius disc paved with crystal cores began to expand. As the disc continued to expand outward, the zombies on the ground disintegrated and disappeared like sand. Coupled with the spread of the red lotus's light, Wanpeng gave people a sense of power that was difficult to match. So sacred, so profound, all the red-clothed holy envoys were completely dumbfounded. God? This is the real God. This concept had already taken root deeply in their minds and could not be out. I convert, a holy envoy shouted from afar, then quickly ran to the red lotus, kneeling down in worship. I convert, I convert. At this moment, the hearts of the people were like a dike-breaching flood. One person converted, and everyone followed suit in an instant. A large portion of the holy envoys had joined the ranks of the rebels. Outrageous. The bearded man, seeing this scene, was about to step forward and kill these rebels. Silence your impudence, Wanpeng said. While waving his right hand gently again, thump, the bearded man fell to the ground in response. Ah! Ah! My leg! Ah! Master, the Holy Son shouted, terrified by the scene. His master was already very powerful in his eyes, but he never expected that this Red Lotus sect person could defeat his master with a wave of his hand. Too strong. Simply too strong. In reality, Dongfang did nothing. This was all thanks to Chu Hangping and the other 18 Dharma protectors. They launched a series of attacks against the bearded man in the form of a human shield, with the aim of getting close to him. Once they got close, they activated the dog tags on their bodies and attached nanobits to the bearded man. This was the only way they could defeat the bearded man. Those nanobits were not activated directly, but were waiting for this moment, coordinating with Dongfang's actions. The purpose was to create the illusion of boundless magical power for everyone. Beneath the Red Lotus, all is pure land. You must not recklessly commit murder. Retreat quickly, Dongfang said. This voice was simply too penetrating. The Holy Son completely lacked the courage to continue fighting. Since the other party is willing to let me go, it's best to leave as soon as possible. When I have the opportunity in the future, it won't be too late to settle accounts with them. The Holy Son made up his mind, ran over to help his master up, and said, Master, let's go. Dongfang ignored them as he watched the two leave quickly. This was Dongfang Chen's instruction. They knew too little about the red-clothed sect. It was not easy to encounter a big fish, so they could not let it go easily while the two were injured. Several micro-robots with data transmission functions had quietly burrowed into their flesh and blood. They would reach the human brain and then find a hidden location to conceal themselves. These two people would serve as important tools for Dongfang Chen to understand the red-clothed sect. You still haven't come forward to worship, convert to the Red Lotus, and atone for your sins, Dongfang said to those holy envoys who were still standing foolishly in the distance. Now that even the Holy Son and the Holy Son's master had been defeated and fled, where did they still have the courage to resist? So they ran to the Red Lotus one after another, kneeling down in worship. It was now exactly 23:30. The time has come. Listen to my orders. Sit down cross-legged and close your eyes in contemplation. Dongfang ordered. A group of holy envoys quickly got up and sat cross-legged on the ground. The 18 Dharma protectors also cooperated by sitting down cross-legged. Heaven and earth are unkind. All things will perish. The Red Lotus descends, illuminating all directions. Dongfang mumbled a lot of gibberish. He himself didn't know what it meant, and the people below understood even less anyway. It was just one word: acting. Just as everyone was piously meditating and accepting the baptism of the redemption ritual, a large number of nanobits carrying trace amounts of medicine were constantly transmitting into everyone's bodies. A dozen minutes was enough for everyone to absorb enough medicine to resolve the side effects of the dissolving pills. As everyone closed their eyes and meditated piously, they felt more and more comfortable all over their bodies. A long-lost feeling of relaxation permeated their entire bodies. They sighed at the power of the Red Lotus sect and were glad that they had made the right choice. The redemption ritual is over. From now on, you are all believers of the Red Lotus sect. The people behind you are the 18 Dharma protectors of our sect. You must obey the decrees and not violate them lightly. Remember. Remember. After Dongfang finished speaking, he flew away and disappeared. All right, everyone, get up. Chu Hangping shouted. The group of holy envoys opened their eyes and stood up. Greetings, Dharma protector. Some holy envoys with quick minds quickly saluted. This was a good time to curry favor. Greetings, Dharma protector. The other holy envoys followed suit and saluted. Well, after completing the redemption ritual, the after effects on your bodies have basically been eliminated. If anyone still feels uncomfortable, you can speak up, Chu Hangping said. Dharma protector, we are very well. That's right, Dharma protector, we have never felt so comfortable before, the crowd said. Chapter 187, Recruiting the Holy Envoy. Alright, in that case, everyone come over and register. One form per person. Fill in your personal information clearly. Chu Hangping took out a stack of forms and had everyone distribute them. The forms required them to clearly fill in their names, place of origin, and other basic information, as well as the time they joined the Red Coat cult and their position. Another 30 minutes passed before everyone finished filling out the forms. Chu Hangping finally made a count and found that a total of 78 Red Coat cult envoys were recruited tonight. But not a single divine envoy. Everyone come over, let's have a meeting and arrange some affairs, Chu Hangping shouted. After collecting the information, the crowd gathered around Chu Hangping. Some of you still control Tier 3 zombies, while others have lost their Tier 3 zombies. Next, those without Tier 3 zombies need to recontrol one as soon as possible. Those with Tier 3 zombies, I need you to enter other cities to gather low-level zombies, Chu Hangping said. Ah. Why is that? Someone asked. They didn't understand. Wasn't the Red Lotus cult supposed to be harmless? Why did they still need to control those zombies? Could it be that they had just left the wolf's den only to enter the tiger's mouth? Don't misunderstand, everyone. We have other reasons for gathering zombies. In short, remember that the Red Lotus cult will not truly be enemies with humans, at most just scare them, Chu Hangping said. Why is that again? Someone else asked. Have you forgotten what the cult leader just said? You must follow the Protector's decrees, understand? Chu Hangping went straight to the point. He had given them too much leeway. They wanted to ask why about everything. Yes, the envoys responded, not daring to make another peep. I hope you remember. You must carry out the orders of the cult. Regardless of whether you know the reason or not, you must do what you are told. Did you hear me? Chu Hangping shouted. Yes, the crowd replied. From now on, this place will be the headquarters of our Red Lotus cult. Choose a room each to rest, and start taking action tomorrow, Chu Hangping instructed. The southeast military region and various settlements were sleepless that night. They didn't receive any news from Moscow City because they hadn't sent any scouts to investigate the next morning. The various settlements that had received leaflets welcomed new ones again. The main content of the leaflets was as follows. 1. The Red Lotus cult's salvation ceremony has been successfully completed. 2. A total of 78 Redcoat cult envoys were saved. 3. Heaven and earth are ruthless, all things will perish. We hope that everyone can believe in the Red Lotus cult and obtain eternal life. In any case, the leaflets were just boasting and trying to trick everyone into joining. The heads of various settlements gathered together again. See what I was saying? This Red Lotus cult cannot be allowed to grow. Now that the Redcoat cult is weak, the Red Lotus cult is starting to run rampant, said the head of one settlement. What's the use of saying this now? The people of the Redcoat cult couldn't defeat them, can we? Said the head of another settlement. All right. Stop arguing. Now everyone in the settlements is panicking. We must come up with a way to deal with this, said another person. What can we do? The Red Lotus cult is active in the city. Can you catch the people spreading leaflets? Or can you send people into the city to encircle and suppress them? Everyone spoke at once, just like a vegetable market, arguing incessantly. In the end, they couldn't think of any effective solution. Southeast Military Region Command, report, enter, Commander, we have news. Speak quickly. Zhongzhangyu stood up and ordered. The Red Lotus cult's salvation ceremony went smoothly, successfully turning 78 Redcoat cult envoys and eliminating millions of zombies, the soldier reported. His Zhongzhangyu was shocked to hear that 78 envoys had been turned last time. Their southeast military region cooperated with the Xiaolin settlement to put on a show, mobilized so many people, put in so much effort, and even gave up their base, and finally only caught 3 envoys. This Red Lotus cult started with 78 envoys. Their level is extraordinary. Is there anything else? Zhongzhangyu asked. Today, the Red Lotus cult is distributing new leaflets in various settlements, vigorously spreading the doomsday theory and openly misleading the public to believe in them, the soldier said, as expected. This Red Lotus cult is indeed not an easy lamp to handle. Zhongzhangyu gnashed his teeth in hatred. Report, enter, report Commander. Mayor Zhuo Wenxian of Suiyang settlement has arrived and wants to see you, the soldier reported. Why is he here again? Zhongzhangyu frowned. Zhongzhangyu was a little unhappy when Zhuo Wenxian came last time. What is he doing here again after only a few days? Tell him to come in. Zhongzhangyu hesitated for a moment, but still agreed to meet him. Commander Zhuang, I'm sorry, I'm here to bother you again. Zhuo Wenxian apologized as soon as he entered the door, presumably knowing that what he did last time was a bit too much. Chapter 188 Training ends. Mayor Zhuo, what brings you here to see me today? Zhongzhangyu got straight to the point, not wanting to exchange pleasantries with him. Commander Zhuang, I'm still here regarding the Red Lotus sect, Zhuo Wenxian replied. Mayor Zhuo, I already made it clear to you last time that I will not interfere with the Red Lotus sect, Zhongzhangyu said. Commander Zhuang, you may not be aware, but the Red Lotus sect openly came to the settlement this morning to distribute leaflets, trying to entice ordinary people to believe in them. If we don't suppress them, I'm afraid that over time, people's hearts will become restless, Zhuo Wenxian said urgently. Mayor Zhuo, this is an internal matter for your settlement. I think you should look for the reasons and solutions internally, Commander Zhuang said, refusing. Commander Zhuang's meaning is that you plan to completely ignore the affairs of the settlement from now on. Zhuo Wenchen's tone turned cold. That's right, Commander Zong replied. Is this your intention, or the intention of the council? Zhuo Wenchen continued to ask, whether it's me or the council, the intention is the same. Commander Zong didn't leave any room for maneuver, so, no matter what decisions we make in the Suyang settlement in the future, the military region and the council will not interfere. Zhuo Wenchen confirmed again. Yes, Zong Zhenyu replied. Ah. Very well. Commander Zong, since that's the case, then I'll take my leave. Seeing Zong Zhenyu's firm attitude, Zhuo Wenchen prepared to leave. Mayor Zhuo, take care. Zong Zhenyu directly saw him off. Binjiang City Underground Base, assemble. Upon hearing the order to assemble, the trainees quickly arrived at the base's main hall and lined up. Everyone, as of today, you have completed 3 months of training. It's time for you to leave. Dongfang Chen said. No one spoke. After these 3 months of training, I believe you have mastered basic survival skills. As long as you're not too stupid, I believe you can live well in this apocalyptic world. I can clearly tell you that I have a purpose in training you. However, I don't like to force others. After all, forced fruit is not sweet. Now I'm giving you a chance to choose, and this will be your last chance to choose. Now listen to my order. Those who are unwilling to obey orders and unwilling to take risks to carry out missions, take 1 step forward. Dongfang Chen said. The trainees looked at each other, but no one stepped forward. How about this? All members of the ordinary group, turn around. Dongfang Chen shouted again. The ordinary group consisted of 156 people, excluding the 30 people from the Southwest Military Region's Directed Training Program and the 54 people specially selected by the base to form the Special Operations Team. These 156 people turned around in unison. Listen to my command. Those who are willing to join the base, willing to carry out the base's missions, and even willing to sacrifice their lives for it, take 1 step forward. Dongfang Chen shouted loudly this time. More than half of the people stepped forward. Good. The trainees who stepped forward, step out of the line. The rest of you, reform the ranks. You line up over there, Dongfang Chen said. Pointing to another open space, the trainees who were willing to join the base quickly reached the open space and stood in formation. Count off. 1, 2, 93, 94. A total of 94 ordinary trainees were willing to join the base. There were still 62 people who had not expressed their position, but not expressing a position was the best attitude. These 62 people lowered their heads in shame. I said just now that I don't like to force others. You have the freedom to choose, and I respect your choice. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You don't need to lower your heads. Later, I will arrange for a plane to send you away. I hope that after you return to your hometown, you can use your strength to protect the peace of your area. I'm sorry to say that before you leave, you have to return all the equipment. Of course, it's not that I'm stingy and unwilling to part with these things. But without the protection of the base, you can't hold on to these things. Perhaps, after people find out, it will bring danger to you. The so-called a common man is innocent, but he is guilty of possessing a treasure, is the principle. No one spoke. Alright, I'll give you 10 minutes to pack your things. In 10 minutes, everyone must gather in the transportation area. The plane will send you back to your respective settlements one by one. Dismissed. Dongfang Chen said. These 62 people quickly left the hall and returned to the rest area to pack their things. It wasn't that Dongfang Chen was anxious to let them go, but that the next arrangement was not suitable for those who planned to quit. No. Therefore, sending them away early was the best choice. The others did not receive Dongfang Chen's order and could only wait in place. 10 minutes later, 10 planes took off one after another and left the base. After the plane took off, Dongfang Chen began the next step of the arrangement. The remaining 178 people were structured as follows: ordinary trainees, 94 people, Southwest Military Region Directed Training, 30 people, Base Special Operations Team Reserve Trainees, 54 people. Next, I will play a video for everyone. Dongfang Chen issued an instruction to Xiaolin, and an animated video of the ecological crisis began playing on the hall's large screen. Chapter 189. If one day faith collapses. This was why Dongfang Chen had asked those unwilling to join the base to leave first, because they knew that this matter might lead to information leaks, or even trigger social panic. Then why not have the 30 military-directed training students avoid it? Dongfang Chen considered that these people would have other uses in the future, so he decided not to hide it from them, but to instill this concept in their minds first. Moreover, the military personnel would not easily leak the news. After watching the video, everyone was dumbfounded. Alright, now that you've watched the video, ask any questions you have. Dongfang Chen said. Boss. Is what it said in there true? That's right, Dongfang Chen replied. How much time do we have left? Yan Fangfang had asked this question before. At most, there are still more than 2 years left. Dongfang Chen replied. Boss, what should we do? That's a good question. I already formulated a comprehensive plan last year. However, for the plan to proceed smoothly, I need everyone's cooperation, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Boss, just give us your orders. Everyone finally realized the seriousness of the problem, and the team's cohesion instantly increased significantly. This was one of the few advantages of the apocalypse. People are particularly easy to unite as long as you give them even a little hope. It is enough for them to forge an indestructible collective will. Don't be anxious. Let me first talk about the affairs of the directed training students. Dongfang Chen looked at the 30 students from the Southwest Military Region. You are soldiers of the Southwest Military Region, and I don't plan to have you stay at the base. The reason I let you know these secrets is that I have some words to say to you whether you agree or not. I hope you keep them in your heart. If one day your faith collapses, you can come here to find me. Dongfang Chen said. The soldiers were no longer calm, looking at each other, but not saying anything. Perhaps it's hard for you to accept, perhaps you can't figure it out. Perhaps you don't like to hear it. That's alright. The development of the situation, the fate of mankind, the cruelty of the ecological crisis, none of these will be transferred due to individual will. Actually, in all honesty, I hope you never understand what I mean, but please believe me, I am not a god either, and I cannot control all of this. Dongfang Chen said. Alright, I've said all I needed to say. You can leave now. Directed training group members, at ease, Dongfang Chen said. The 30 military students stood at attention together and gave Dongfang Chen a standard military salute. Even if they thought Dongfang Chen's last words had a strange tone, they still felt that he was a person worthy of their respect, even though his age might not even be older than theirs. Alright, now only our own people are left. I will now arrange your upcoming work. Dongfang Chen walked to the front of the line of 94 ordinary students. You were all recommended here. You are all very familiar with the people who recommended you, right? Dongfang Chen asked. Everyone nodded. Now I can tell you that they are all the oldest members of the base. They came here when this base was first established. At that time, it was still a bare structure, and the conditions were quite simple. In a flash, almost a year has passed. Dongfang Chen exclaimed. Everyone had no concept of it and just silently looked at him. They also have a hidden identity, called lurkers, Dongfang Chen said. Everyone looked at each other, indicating that they had never heard of this name. In fact, even now, the popularity of Dongfang Chen's base is not high, and not many people know about it. It is far less famous than the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild. So, whether the identity of the lurkers is exposed or not is irrelevant. Even so, none of the lurkers who were sent out have ever revealed their identity. Why is this? It's not because Dongfang Chen manages well, nor is it because the organizational structure is tight. The biggest reason is the strong sense of mission in everyone's hearts and the strong confidence in overcoming the ecological crisis. These two things gave them firm belief and tenacious willpower. They are not working hard for Dongfang Chen, they are working hard to realize their own value. That's why Wanpeng said that when he first saw Chu Xiangping, he knew that he was not from the resettlement camp. The reason is simple. There is light in Chu Xiangping's eyes. What is the light in their eyes? It is that they know more than others, possess stronger power and backing than others, master the methods and ways to change their destiny, and can see where the road to the future lies. Therefore, why do some people only struggle to survive in difficult environments, while others can ride the wind and waves and set sail straight to the clouds in such environments? It is not that the difference in mentality between people is so great, but that the resources they master are different. From today onwards, you will become new lurkers, and like your recommenders, you will mainly complete 3 tasks. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Switching to Supercomputing Center. From today onwards, you will become the new lurkers, and like your recommenders, you will primarily complete 3 tasks. Firstly, you are free to join any organization. Remember what I said, any organization. Whether legal or illegal, it's fine. After joining, remain dormant. Secondly, you need to periodically send talents to the base. Anyone you trust can be secretly sent to the base. Here, they will receive antigens for free and undergo training for free. After passing the training, they will become new lurkers, just like when you came. Thirdly, which is also your most important task, is to obtain intelligence. After introducing the tasks, Dongfang Chen began to introduce the equipment that they had not been exposed to during the training period, mainly two things: dog tags and mechanical dogs. The mechanical dog has limited combat power and can only provide output in some simple combat scenarios. Its main function is to charge other equipment. The mechanical dog carries a crystal core decomposition device inside its body, which can automatically decompose the crystal core into energy. The energy of dog tags and laser guns all comes from this. The reason for making it into the form of a mechanical dog is for easy carrying. As for the second generation bone microphone, digital eye pupils, and Type 2 combat suit, they have already been equipped during training and do not need to be introduced again. The production of dog tags takes time, so this batch of lurkers will need to wait one more night in the base. Okay, what needs to be introduced has been introduced. If there is anything you are not clear about, you can discuss it with each other. If everyone is not clear about something, you can contact me through the digital eye pupils, and I will answer your questions. All lurkers, listen to the order. Attention. Dismiss. After the tasks of the lurkers were arranged, the last remaining were these 54 special operations team members from the base. You guys, follow me. Dongfang Chen said. Everyone lined up and followed Dongfang Chen out of the training base. Dongfang Chen took them directly to the main base. These reserve special operations team members only now realized that the Binjiang underground base they knew was just the tip of the iceberg. After arriving at the training area of the main base, the team members lined up again. Everyone, from today onwards, you will become the first batch of special operations team members here. And I will be your supreme commander. You can call me commander. You don't need to call me boss anymore. Yes, Commander, everyone said in unison. Next, let me introduce someone to you first. Brother Dai, come here. Dongfang Chen called out. Brother Dai is Dai Zheng. He was the person Dongfang Chen met outside the base before he left for Moscow for the first time. At that time, he was looking for his base with his daughter, Dalit, and his comrade's son, Ding Yuwen, was the first batch of lurkers in the base at that time. After Dongfang Chen brought them to the base, he arranged them in the living area and did not make specific work arrangements. After this batch of trainees finished their training, the special operations team happened to be short of a manager, and Dongfang Chen thought of him. This is Dai Zheng, a retired soldier. He previously served in the Raptor Commando directly under the Northwest Military Region Command. He has rich combat experience, and I believe he will be more than qualified to be your instructor. From today onwards, he will be your captain. Dongfang Chen said. Yes, everyone shouted. Okay. Then the next thing will be arranged by Captain Dai, Dongfang Chen said, giving the main seat to Dai Zheng. Everyone, attention. Stand at attention, Dai Zheng shouted in a tough voice. Dongfang Chen couldn't compare to this kind of deterrent force. After all, Dongfang Chen was born as a student, and he revealed the air of a scholar. His method of maintaining majesty was simple and crude, that is, to maintain a certain distance from everyone. But Dai Zheng is different. The military temperament engraved in his bones naturally brings a sense of courage and fierceness. Swish! Everyone stood at attention in unison. Dongfang Chen nodded silently. This is the right way. If he were to lead them himself, he would definitely turn them into little lambs. Comrades, next, those whose names I call, step out. Dai Zheng divided these 54 people into two teams, each with 27 people, and appointed a reserve captain from each team. Dongfang Chen didn't interfere with these matters anymore and turned back to the office with the matter coming to an end. The supercomputing center has been built, and it is time to switch it over. Switching from the original server to the new server requires a brief service pause, so Dongfang Chen sent an upgrade message to all lurkers, the Chamber of Commerce's Niu Xingwang, and the Mercenary Guild Zheng Yuangke, so as not to cause unnecessary panic. Notice, the communication server is about to be upgraded. During the upgrade, the bone microphone and digital eye pupils will experience brief functional abnormalities. Please be aware. Upgrade time, June 30th, 2055, 21:30 estimated time. 3 minutes. Dongfang Chen kept the existence of the supercomputing center a secret from everyone. Therefore, he couldn't say in the notice that it was the supercomputing center being upgraded, so he just made up a name called the communication server, Xiaolin. Everything is ready. We can switch the supercomputing center. Okay, Commander. 3 minutes later, Commander, the supercomputing center has completed the switch. The space station is ready for upgrade. Do you want to upgrade? Xiaolin asked. Chapter 191 Space Station upgraded to level 4. Commander, the supercomputing center has completed the switchover. The space station is ready for an upgrade. Do you want to proceed with the upgrade? Xiaolin asked. Upgrade. Dongfang Chen replied 10 minutes later. The space station upgrade was complete. The current space station structure is as follows. Power module, level 4, core module, optical brain level 4, space station main program, central hall, level 3, used for connecting between modules, experiment module, level 3, provides technical solutions for the ground, research and development module, level 3, provides research and development solutions for the ground and space station, main control module, level 3, task control for worker bee robots, ground-to-air spacecraft, etc., production module, level 3, 5 in total, production and manufacturing of functional equipment. Quantum communication module, level 3, enables quantum communication between the base, supercomputing center, and spacecraft. Mounting module, level 3, mounts a miniature ground-to-air spacecraft. 1, material transfer hall, level 3, used for material transfer. Mounting module expansion, dedicated transport spacecraft. Mounting module, level 3, 4 in total, mounts miniature unmanned transport spacecraft. 4, now, the supercomputing center has successfully switched to a quantum computer. Using the quantum communication module, long-distance communication between the space station and the ground can be achieved. What is long-distance communication? This is in contrast to traditional contact-based communication methods. For example, when people chat face-to-face, they use sound waves for communication. This communication method is the oldest and slowest. The speed of sound in the air is 340 meters per second, which is the fastest communication speed between the signal transmitter and receiver. Later, there were telephones and the internet. Telephones and the internet rely on electromagnetic waves for communication. The fastest speed of electromagnetic wave propagation is 300,000 kilometers per second, which is the same as the speed of light. Whether transmitting information through sound waves or electromagnetic waves, the communication speed is within the speed of light. This communication method requires the transmitter and receiver to establish contact at a speed not exceeding the speed of light, which can be called contact-based communication. Quantum communication relies on quantum entanglement. This communication method has no distance limitations and no time constraints. No matter how far apart the transmitter and receiver are, or whether there are obstacles in between, real-time communication can be achieved. Achieving quantum communication between the supercomputing center and the space station is a crucial step. Red oxygen has a particularly unique property called magnetic field annihilation. Therefore, once the molecular light film outside the blue star's atmosphere is completely formed, electromagnetic wave communication between satellites and the ground will be completely interrupted. However, quantum communication will not be affected by this. So, why is it said that the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild's businesses are a crucial part of the entire plan? It is because the signal towers of each mercenary guild branch will form a vast matrix network. The matrix network can communicate with a supercomputing center in real time, and the supercomputing center can exchange data with the space station through quantum communication. In this way, communication between the signal tower, supercomputing center, and space station is established. In this way, even if the molecular light film is completely formed, the space station can still exert a certain degree of control over the ground. As for how strong the control is, it depends on Dongfang Chen's achievements. What Dongfang Chen needs to do in this regard is to get as many people as possible to join this network. The more people who join the network, the more comprehensive the information he controls, and the stronger his control over the ground. And how many people can ultimately join the network depends on how wide the Huituang Chamber of Commerce's coverage is. In order to obtain sufficiently comprehensive information, the Huituang Chamber of Commerce's positioning can only be neutral. Whether it is domestic or foreign, whether it is a righteous force or a villainous force, it is best to be able to integrate into the Huituang Chamber of Commerce's business. This approach of not distinguishing between friend and foe may lead some forces to criticize the Huituang Chamber of Commerce for having no stance. But a gentleman does what he should do and does not do what he should not do. What does it matter if everyone can't understand? When a person does not understand the whole situation, then his comments or opinions are meaningless. Currently, the space station's production modules have reached a maximum of 5, and there are 1,600 worker bee robots with a material transfer hall and 4 unmanned transport spacecraft. These worker bee robots can travel to more distant places to collect materials. Xiaolin, upgrade all modules to level 4, Dongfang Chen said. Yes, Commander. Currently, the collection speed of 1,600 worker bee robots is 8 times that of the initial 200. However, There are also many modules that need to be upgraded, so the upgrade time is also very long. However, the upgrade process will not affect the progress of various tasks. July 1st, 2055 AD, Mazhao City, Merlin Resettlement Center. Brother Zuo, why do you have time to come here today? Mayor Gong asked. Brother Gong, I was idle and came to see you, Zuo Wenchen said. Doesn't seem like it, does it? Looking at your bitter expression, you must have encountered something, Mayor Gong said. Brother Gong, have any members of the Red Lotus Society come to Merlin to distribute leaflets? Zuo Wenchen asked. I haven't seen any, Mayor Gong replied. Chapter 192. A secret conversation between two people. The Red Lotus Sect's activities were quite significant, and they were happening right in Mazhao City. It's impossible that Gong Kaming wouldn't know about it. But the strange thing is that no one from Milan had come to distribute leaflets. None? That's impossible, right? Not even once. Zuo Wenchen was a little disbelieving. Really, none, Mayor Gong said with a smile. That's strange. Zuo Wenchen frowned even more deeply. Hey, Brother Zuo, what's with your reaction? What's wrong? Surely you're not hoping something bad happens to my Milan, are you? Mayor Gong said, feigning blame. Alice. It seems Zuo Wenchen, am truly out of luck. Back in Haizhao, the resettlement camp was wiped out by zombies. Now, I finally get an opportunity to become the mayor of Mazhao City, but Mazhao hasn't had a single day of peace. Brother Zuo, I have to say a few words to you about that. Distributing leaflets isn't just happening in your Quidying resettlement camp. As far as I know, many resettlement camps nearby are the same. The boat will right itself when it reaches the pier. Why are you worrying yourself sick all day long? Mayor Gong advised. Easy for you to say. If the Red Lotus sect comes to your Milan, I'll see if you're still so calm, Zuo Wenchen said irritably. Whether they come or not, I'll have the same opinion. I'm telling you, instead of frowning all day long, you should quickly implement a cooperation with the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. If the people have hope, can the Red Lotus sect still stir up trouble? Look at my Milan, the economy is thriving, and the people are living well. Aren't all the problems gone then? Mayor Gong said. That makes sense. Zuo Wenchen nodded. Flies don't bite seamless eggs. If you want to prevent the Red Lotus sect from infiltrating, you must solve the people's livelihood problems, of course. Otherwise, why wouldn't the Red Lotus sect come to Milan? It's because they know it would be a waste of time, Mayor Gong boasted. In reality, the Red Lotus sect didn't come here because the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce had a branch here. Many resettlement camps were paying attention to Milan's development to use it as a reference for their own decision-making, commonly known as copying homework. Therefore, it's better for Milan not to be in chaos as for whether anyone would suspect any collusion between the Chamber of Commerce and the Red Lotus sect. Let them think what they want. Dongfang Chen was still considering how to cooperate with the Red Cloak sect. Wouldn't that cause an uproar then? Regarding this point, Dongfang Chen stated that they would get used to it when the time comes. The Huatuang Chamber of Commerce just needs to issue a statement maintaining neutrality as for whether anyone would express dissatisfaction or protest. Don't be silly. If you have the ability, then don't cooperate. We'll see who lives and who dies then. Brother Gong, I came to see you today because I have another matter to discuss with you, Zuo Wenchen said. Oh? Brother Zuo, please speak, Mayor Gong said seriously. It's like this. I went to the Southeast Military Region today. Immediately, Zuo Wenchen repeated Zhang Yu's words. Commander Zhang really said that? Gong Kaming frowned. That's right. Think about it. If this is the meaning of the council, do you know what that means? Zuo Wenchen asked. Gong Kaming didn't speak, waiting for him to continue. It means that our resettlement camps have been completely abandoned. Zuo Wenchen said, staring at him intently. His Gong Kaming was shocked by these words, but upon closer inspection, that was indeed the truth. I suddenly recalled the 2055 Human Survival White Paper issued by the Council 3 months ago. Do you think there's a possibility that the purpose of the Council issuing this white paper was to let each resettlement camp fend for itself? Zuo Wenchen said. To be honest, this idea has already become mainstream in private. I've attended several gatherings of resettlement camp leaders before, and I've heard a lot of comments in this regard. However, everyone doesn't mind this point, and is actually happy to see it happen, Mayor Gong said. Why is that? Zuo Wenchen asked. Think about it, if the higher-ups let go and don't care, how is that different from being a local emperor? As long as you don't go too far, you can do whatever you want on your own little piece of land, right? It's just that this matter can only be understood implicitly and cannot be expressed in words. It's just that Zhai Yuzov Quidayang resettlement camp was too stupid. He actually picked a fight at this time and insisted on shouting out a matter of autonomy, which is why he was finally dismissed? Tell me, isn't it great to close the door and be a local emperor? Guang Kaiming said, so that's how it is. Then, Brother Guang, do you think it's good to cooperate with this Huituang Chamber of Commerce, or not? Zhuo Wenxin asked. Then what does Brother Zhuo think? Mayor Gong asked. There are advantages and disadvantages, right? If we don't cooperate, then no one will interfere in the internal affairs of the resettlement camp, and it will be more free. But in that case, the safety factor is not enough. If we cooperate, the safety factor is enough, but it might be like letting a wolf into the house, Zhuo Wenxin said. Brother Zhuo, you're wrong, completely wrong, Mayor Gong said. Oh? Where am I wrong? Zhuo Wenxin looked at him, puzzled, and asked. Chapter 193 Gong Kaiming leaks secrets. If we don't cooperate, the resettlement camp is doomed. Only through cooperation can we survive, Mayor Gong said. What do you mean by that? Zhuo Wenxin didn't understand. Brother Zhuo, let me remind you, think about the 2055 human survival white paper we just mentioned, Mayor Gong said. In fact, Niu Xingwang had told him about this back then, when Niu Xingwang was preparing to return to Benjiang to establish an underground base. He had revealed some information about this, although he only hinted at it a little. It was enough for Mayor Gong to understand the key white paper. Zhuo Wenxin paced back and forth, pondering for a long time, but couldn't figure it out. Brother Guang, just tell me directly, Zhuo Wenxin sighed. Let me ask you. What is this white paper for? Mayor Gong asked. Isn't this white paper just publishing some technical solutions? Of course, it's to guide us on how to build a base, Zhuo Wenxin replied. Build what kind of base? Mayor Gong asked. Of course, an underground base. Look at your question, doesn't everyone know that? Zhuo Wenxin laughed. That's right. An underground base, Guang Kaiming emphasized. Looking at him, Zhuo Wenxin was stunned. What's wrong with an underground base? There's nothing wrong with it. Do you know why it's not an above-ground base? Mayor Gong asked the question that Niu Xingwang had asked him. Why? Zhuo Wenxin was puzzled. Let me ask you again. Do you know where the people from the central military region have gone? Mayor Gong asked. Zhuo Wenxin thought for a while, shook his head, and asked, do you know? I don't know either. Guang Kaiming laughed. You. Alright, Brother Guang, just tell me directly, don't keep me in suspense. Zhuo Wenxin was anxious. Although I don't know where the people from the central military region have gone, it doesn't stop me from making a guess. Do you think it might be related to this plan? If I remember correctly, the release date of the white paper and the adjustment time of the military region are about the same, right? Mayor Gong said. Are you saying that the central military region's troops went to build underground bases? Zhuo Wenxin asked. Very likely, Mayor Gong said. But why is that? Judging from the current situation, it's only a matter of time before the zombies are eliminated. I don't think there's any need to build underground bases at all, Zhuo Wenxin said. You went to the Huituang Chamber of Commerce headquarters in Benjiang some time ago. How is their underground base? Mayor Gong asked. The amount of construction is huge, and ordinary people can't do it, Zhuo Wenxin replied. Then why would the Huituang Chamber of Commerce go to so much trouble to build an underground base? Mayor Gong asked. To show off their wealth, Zhuo Wenxin replied without thinking. Brother Zhuo, I'm only telling you this. This matter is very important, don't reveal it, Mayor Gong said quietly. Don't worry, tell me. Zhuo Wenxin patted his chest and said, the real reason the council issued the white paper is that in the near future, the surface will not be suitable for human survival, Mayor Gong said. What? Impossible. Zhuo Wenxin didn't believe it at all. Otherwise, why would the white paper provide you with a construction plan for a life support system? Isn't that to let you build an underground base completely isolated from the outside world? Mayor Gong said. Brother Guang, are you serious? Zhuo Wenxin confirmed. Think about it yourself. Mayor Gong glanced at him. Zhuo Wenxin stopped talking and began to analyze carefully. No wonder Zhuang Zhenyu doesn't care about the resettlement camp. If that's the case, it makes sense, Zhuo Wenxin said. Let me tell you, from my analysis during this period, the military and the council are hopeless. Because that white paper is the council's final explanation to the resettlement camp. The only ones we can really count on are the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild. Only they have the strength to build underground bases for us, Mayor Gong said. That's right, Zhuo Wenxin finally understood. As for the Red Lotus sect, in my opinion, they are not to be feared. As long as Brother Zuo speeds up the implementation of cooperation with the Huotong Chamber of Commerce and revitalizes the economy of the resettlement camp, all of this will naturally be solved, Mayor Gong said. Thank you for your guidance, Brother Gong. I've been enlightened. I'll treat you today. Let's have a good drink. Zuo Wenchen was in a good mood and was generous. What Dongfang Chen wanted was this kind of effect. The destructive power of the Red Lotus sect must be increased, so that the Chamber of Commerce will develop more rapidly. Mazhao City, downtown area. After a day of rest, the first batch of Red Lotus sect's red-clad holy envoys had basically recovered at this time. They had all gathered in the base's hall since Wanpeng showed his face the night before yesterday. He had not appeared again. All matters were being handled by the 18 protectors. The reason, of course, was because Wanpeng was just an empty shell and didn't have strong strength. He was far inferior to the 18 protectors. If this level of strength were to appear in front of a group of followers, he would be exposed sooner or later. So the best way was to maintain a sense of mystery and never show his face unless absolutely necessary. In the hall, the 18 protectors stood on the stage, and the 78 followers stood in 2 rows below the stage. Chapter 194, The Revised Necromancer Technique. Before assigning tasks, I have some things I want to make clear to you all, Chu Hangping said. Our Red Lotus sect leader is compassionate and has given you the opportunity to live. But if anyone disobeys orders, I will kill them. Of course, as long as you obey orders and submit to management, the benefits you can obtain are also very numerous. Chu Hangping used the carrot and stick approach. Now, those holy envoys who still control Tier 3 zombies, stand to the left. Those who don't, stand to the right. The 78 holy envoys quickly moved into action. After a final count, there were 32 people who still controlled Tier 3 zombies. Your first task, for you 46, is to regain control of a Tier 3 zombie as quickly as possible, Chu Hangping said to those on the right. The holy envoys looked troubled. Is there a problem? Chu Hangping asked sternly. Guardian Dharma, we are no longer able to use the spirit summoning art, one holy envoy said. Why? Chu Hangping asked. After the sect leader repaired our bodies, the effect of the holy water also disappeared. Moreover, to use the spirit summoning art, we need to use living people as bait. The holy envoy explained. It doesn't matter, we can solve this for you, Chu Hangping said. The holy envoys were stunned. They don't want us to drink the holy water again, do they? The holy envoys thought to themselves, we have other methods to control Tier 2 zombies. You can directly skip the process of luring the zombies, Chu Hangping explained. So that's how it is. The holy envoys understood this method was provided by Dongfang Chen. His method was very simple and crude. Use robots to directly control the Tier 2 zombies and fix them on the high platform. In this way, even if the person performing the spirit summoning art has not drunk the holy water, they will not be attacked by the zombies. At the same time, it also directly eliminates the process of feeding living people to lure Tier 2 zombies onto the high platform. In this way, the holy envoys only need to ascend the high platform and directly cast the spirit summoning art, because a large number of ordinary zombie crystal cores are also needed when casting the spirit summoning art. Dongfang Chen also directly eliminated this step. Because he has a lot of crystal cores, he can directly cover the ground with crystal cores, so the spirit summoning art was directly and crudely simplified. As long as you catch some Tier 2 zombies and forcibly place them on the high platform, the holy envoys can readily cast the spirit summoning art. It is safe, efficient, saves time, and saves effort. You follow this Guardian Dharma over there. The Tier 2 zombies have already been prepared for you. Just cast the spirit summoning art directly, Chu Hangping ordered. Yes, everyone bowed and saluted, then followed another Guardian Dharma out of the hall. The 23 of you will form groups freely and go collect zombies separately. I have only one requirement. Before dark, each of you must gather at least a team of 10,000 zombies, Chu Hangping said. Guardian Dharma, in order to attack Mazhao, the zombies from many surrounding cities have already been mobilized here by us. It may not be possible to gather so many zombies in such a short time, one holy envoy said. You don't have to worry about this. This Guardian Dharma will arrange for planes to send you to designated cities. You need to complete the zombie gathering there. Chu Hangping explained. These holy envoys were still a little hesitant. If you encounter other Red Cloak members, we will come forward to resolve it. You just need to wholeheartedly complete this task, Chu Hangping further explained. We respectfully obey the Guardian Dharma's decree. All the holy envoys no longer had any concerns. Then you follow these 15 Guardian Dharmas to set off, Chu Hangping also arranged for 15 guardian dermas to escort them to the designated cities. Arranging so many guardian dermas to follow was to facilitate dealing with any Red Cloak holy envoys they might encounter according to Dongfang Chen's orders. The primary task of the Red Lotus sect was to gather zombies. It has been more than 20 days since the first batch of 20 settlements signed cooperation agreements with the Huatung Chamber of Commerce. In order not to delay the construction period, Dongfang Chen had already prepaid 1 million crystal cores for the construction of the Chamber of Commerce branches and mercenary guild branches in each settlement. But this amount was still not enough, and at least another 1 million crystal cores needed to be invested. That is to say, on average, each settlement still had a shortage of 50,000 crystal cores. The Huatung Chamber of Commerce's current profitability is limited, so Dongfang Chen came up with this idea regarding the Red Cloak sect. The cities to which these holy envoys were assigned were the cities that had signed cooperation agreements with the Chamber of Commerce. Dongfang Chen's first small goal was to order these holy envoys to drive the zombies to the various settlements that had already cooperated. While bringing them panic, it would also bring enough crystal cores to the Micro Queen Bee to complete the construction of the branches, killing two birds with one stone. July 2, 2055 AD, 2200 hours in the evening. Mayor Zuo, it's bad. Something happened. The secretary ran in a fluster at this time. Zuo Wenshan was already asleep because the Suiyang Settlement's mercenary guild branch was still under construction. The underground geothermal power generation room had not yet been officially put into use. Therefore, the Suiyang settlement had no electricity. What's the matter? Why are you so flustered? Zuo Wenshan walked directly out of the room wearing a vest. It was currently summer, and there were no air conditioners or fans, so even though Zuo Wenshan was only wearing a vest, he was still sweating profusely. Chapter 195 Zombie Bats Appear. Mayor Zuo, outside there are many zombies, the secretary said breathlessly, panic-stricken. What? How many? More sweat appeared on Zuo Wenshan's face. About tens of thousands of them, the secretary said. Tens of thousands. Zuo Wenshan was stunned. Is that what he calls many? Something's not right. Usually, it's hundreds of thousands every time, isn't it? Why are there only tens of thousands this time? It must be that the Red Cloths have wiped out all the zombies nearby. Zuo Wenshan thought. After all, the Red Cloths had transferred all the surrounding zombies to deal with the Red Lotus sect a few days ago. Unexpectedly, they were all wiped out by the Red Lotus sect in one go? This can be considered a good deed done by the Red Lotus sect for Ma Zhao. Zuo Wenshan could only comfort himself in this way. Over this period, Zuo Wenshan's courage had also grown. A mere tens of thousands of zombies were not worth mentioning. Let's go to the city wall and take a look, Zuo Wenshan said. Although he didn't care, if they really attacked the city, it would be enough for him to handle. The mercenary guild has not yet been established, so they still have to rely on themselves for city defense. Previously, zombie rats had provided a lot of crystals, so the gap in the Suiyang settlement was relatively small. Therefore, only 3 holy envoys were sent here to cause trouble, bringing a total of 30,000 zombies. The remaining 20 holy envoys who controlled Tier 3 zombies were divided into groups of 5 and went to 4 different settlements looking down from the city wall. These zombies were gathering near the city gate. Aoo, clang clang clang. These zombies were howling and slamming into the city gate with all their might. Is the city gate blocked? Zuo Wenshan asked. It's blocked, the secretary replied. Alright, let's go back, Zuo Wenshan said. He looked at it, and with these zombies, it was impossible to break into the settlement by stacking on top of each other. Not enough numbers. The holy envoys controlled the zombies to stir up trouble outside the city. For several hours the Queen Bee decomposed a portion of the zombies, enough for a few days of construction consumption. The remaining zombies were taken back by the 3 holy envoys. These zombies cannot be completely decomposed by the Micro Queen Bee at once, because they still have to go and harass other settlements the next day. Send some every few days, a steady stream. July 2, 2055 AD, 2225, Sichuan Province, Yundu City, Southwest Military Region Command. What is that? The soldier on duty in the watchtower felt a black cloud rapidly approaching in the night. Sound the alarm. The soldier watching with binoculars suddenly shouted. With a shrill alarm sounded. What happened? Jens Hangping quickly walked out of the office and asked. Reporting, Commander, the watchtower reports that unidentified birds are rapidly approaching in the sky. The orderly reported. Unidentified birds. Jens Hangping was a little puzzled. Generally, birds appear during the day, and rarely move at night. It could be bats, the orderly replied. Bats? Not good. Issue an order. All soldiers immediately returned to their dormitories, closed the doors and windows. Yan Zhangping shouted, "Yes." 2 minutes later, pa 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 pa, a large number of bats kept hitting the doors and windows, where the glass of a soldier's dormitory was shattered, and a large number of bats flew into the room. Screams rang out in the second room, the third room. "They are zombie bats." Yan Zhangping finally saw clearly through the window that these bats were covered with dried blood stains and their eyes were blood red. "Commander, you quickly go inside and hide. It's dangerous here." The soldier next to him shouted. Yan Zhangping ignored him completely. He was very anxious now. There were bursts of shots from the dormitory area, which meant that zombie bats had invaded many dormitories. Something bad is going to happen. This was Yan Zhangping's only thought now. "Dad." Yan Fangfang ran in. "Fangfang, can Xiaochen's ultrasonic transmitter not drive away the zombies in the air?" Yan Zhangping asked. "Yeah." Yan Fangfang nodded. Only Yan Fangfang knew that what really drove away the zombies was not ultrasonic waves, but nanobots. But nanobots can't fly into the sky. Otherwise, why would Dongfang Chen spend so much money to build so many laser cannons in Binjiang City? "Issue an order. Order the military's directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment to use flamethrowers and burn them for me," Yan Zhangping said with gritted teeth. "Yes, all members of the military's directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment have been equipped with combat uniforms with a protection of combat uniforms. At least their lives are safe." Yan Zhangping knew that this catastrophe could not be avoided. In any case, sacrifice was inevitable. Since this is the case, then they can't just hide. They must take the initiative to attack. He planned to destroy this batch of bats here at all costs. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. More than 10 minutes later, the outside of the building was brightly lit. Several soldiers in a group controlled the flamethrower and kept spraying it towards the sky. Zombies are inherently oily, and they burn quickly when they encounter fire. I saw fire spots flying in the air, and each fire spot was a bat that was ignited. The air was filled with the smell of gasoline and burnt meat, which was extremely fishy and stinky. Chapter 196. Yan Zhangping's frustration. This night was destined to be the second sleepless night for the Southwest Military Region. The last time the Red Robe cult launched a night attack on the Southwest Military Region, they were at least human zombies. After setting up layers of blockades, they finally eliminated hundreds of thousands of zombies at the cost of sacrificing more than 1,000 people. But this time, the bat zombies were flying in the sky. They were numerous, moved quickly, and were difficult to defend against. It wasn't until after 8 a.m. that the statistics came out. From midnight to dawn, in just a few hours, the military region headquarters suffered a total of more than 3,200 casualties. Some were injured in the head, some in the back, and some in the buttocks. Most of them were scratched or pegged. So far, only 213 people have died. Yan Zhangping sat at his desk with bloodshot eyes, not saying a word. Yan Fangfang stood next to him, not leaving his side. "We just dealt with zombie rats, and now zombie bats are here. Fangfang, why does it feel like it never ends?" Yan Zhangping leaned back in his chair, looked at the ceiling, and felt very tired. "Dad, you're too tired. Go get some sleep." Yan Fangfang felt a little distressed. "Fangfang, contact Xiaochen and explain the situation here in detail. Ask him to quickly arrange a batch of targeted drugs and serum so that our soldiers can be treated as soon as possible." Yan Zhangping still looked at the ceiling, speaking in a listless tone. "Dad, I've already contacted him," Yan Fangfang replied. "Fangfang, do you think Dad is a failure as a commander? If the Southwest Military Region were to be without Xiaochen, I don't know how many people would be left now. Maybe not even one. First, there were zombie attacks, and then bat night raids. If it weren't for the combat suits, I wouldn't be able to think of any way to deal with it." One blow after another had battered Yan Zhangping, a man of steel, leaving him riddled with holes. He actually felt a deep sense of frustration and powerlessness. "Dad, don't say that. You will always be my hero." Yan Fangfang shed tears involuntarily. Yan Zhangping shook his head and didn't respond. "Fangfang, from July 1st last year, when the first confirmed case of virus infection appeared, until now, it's been exactly 1 year. Do you know how many soldiers have sacrificed in our Southwest Military Region during this year?" Yan Zhangping asked, not completely clear. Yan Fangfang shook her head. She officially joined the Southwest Military Region at the end of last year after returning from Dongfang Chen's base. Before that, she had been engaged in biological research in Kyoto. She didn't fully understand what happened before. "A total of 7,386 soldiers have sacrificed," Yan Zhangping replied. "Before you officially took office as the chief instructor of the Southwest Military Region, Nearly 6,000 people had already sacrificed, Yan Zhangping added. Dad, such situations will happen less and less in the future, Yan Fangfang said. That's right, it will happen less and less. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I've made a decision that breaks the rules, Yan Zhangping said. What decision? Yan Fangfang asked. I plan to have Dongfang Chen build an underground base for our southwest military region, Yan Zhangping said. Dad, Dongfang Chen might not agree, right? He's very greedy, and he definitely won't do anything that doesn't benefit him, Yan Fangfang said. Greedy? That's because you don't understand him. Yan Zhangping turned his head to look at her and continued to look at the ceiling. Now is not the right time, he definitely won't agree. But every day the underground base is built later, our soldiers will be in more danger. So I plan to take a gamble, Yan Zhangping said. What gamble? Yan Fangfang asked. Cooperate directly with the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce, Yan Zhangping said. Dad? That's impossible. Dongfang Chen just doesn't want the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce to be involved with the military, that's why he gave this part of the business to us. Now you want the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce to help us build a base, which will definitely disrupt his plan. He definitely won't agree. Yan Fangfang knew it was impossible without even thinking about it. You're wrong, I'm not worried that Dongfang Chen won't agree, but I'm worried that the council won't agree, Yan Zhangping said. Yan Fangfang didn't understand. At the last headquarters establishment celebration of the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce, Dongfang Chen deliberately let something slip. I think he did it on purpose. What he wanted to convey was that he wanted to build a base for the military, it's just that the military region isn't our own family. Such a large project definitely needs to be reported to the council for discussion. As it stands, Dongfang Chen's exposed technological strength has far exceeded the current level of China. Therefore, if this matter is brought up to the council, cooperation with the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce will definitely not be approved. Because in that case, the military may face a great risk of leaking secrets. You must know that once the military is monitored, the consequences will be terrible, Yan Zhangping explained. Yan Fangfang nodded, understanding some of it. That's why Dongfang Chen is so cunning. He doesn't want the council to cause him trouble, and he also wants to get a foothold in the military, so he threw this problem to me and Zhongzhenyu. Tell me, isn't this kid rotten to the core? Yan Zhangping asked with a smile. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197, Level 1 Genetic Programming. Dad, then tell me, isn't what Dongfang Chen is doing very contradictory? Why would he do this? Yan Fangfang couldn't understand. That's what I admire most about him. Our Huan nation emphasizes the roles of ruler, minister, father, and son. This is a deeply ingrained tradition in our blood, and it's the universal value of our Huan nation people. But have you ever thought that these things are actually dialectical? When these things promote the development of society, then they are right. If they hinder the development of society, then they are wrong. I only recently realized this truth, Yan Zhangping said. Yan Fangfang was a little shocked that her father would use the word admire. In her memory, this had never happened before. What does this have to do with the values of our Huan nation people? Yan Fangfang didn't quite understand. Then let me ask you, is Dongfang Chen interfering in military affairs, overstepping his boundaries? Yan Zhangping asked. This, Yan Fangfang didn't know how to answer. This is your values at play. You can't answer this question. On the one hand, your perception tells you that Dongfang Chen has indeed overstepped his boundaries. On the other hand, from a situational perspective, you are extremely unwilling to admit this, Yan Zhangping analyzed. That's right, Yan Fangfang admitted. Then what is the answer to this question? Did he overstep his boundaries or not? Yan Zhangping returned to this question. Yan Fangfang was speechless. It was too convoluted, and she couldn't figure it out at all. What does it matter if he overstepped his boundaries or not? If it can allow these soldiers to live, what does it matter even if he is condemned by thousands? Yan Zhangping sighed, as if talking to himself. So, in order to allow the soldiers to live well, you plan to bypass the council and cooperate directly with the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce. Yan Fangfang finally understood what Yan Zhangping was expressing. Yes. That's right. Yan Zhangping nodded, and with a smile he was gratified that Yan Fangfang could see this point. But in this way, you may encounter considerable trouble in the council. Yan Fangfang was a little worried. No one is perfect, and nothing is foolproof. Gains and losses, advantages and disadvantages, are all weighed. Originally, this matter could have waited a little longer, but the appearance of the zombie bats has made it impossible for me to wait any longer. Compared to my own trouble, it is of course more important for the soldiers to survive, Yan Zhangping said as if he had made a final decision. Yan Fangfang took a deep breath and nodded silently. All right, you accompany me for a trip. Yan Zhangping stood up, straightened his clothes, and said soon after, the father and daughter took a plane and headed towards Binjiang. Commander, the experimental module and research module have been upgraded to level 4, unlocking the key technology, gene programming. The current unlocking stage is Stage 1, Xiaolin reported. What are the application scenarios for Stage 1 gene programming technology? Dongfang Chen asked. This stage can achieve complete programming of cell-free microbial DNA or RNA chains. The main application scenario is the research and manufacture of viruses, Xiaolin replied. Researching viruses? What is the specific process? Dongfang Chen asked. Step 1. Model according to requirements. This stage is to pre-encode the DNA or RNA chain in the computer. Step 2. Compile. Compile the DNA chain structure in the computer and analyze its biological characteristics. Step 3. Reproduction diagnosis. According to its biological characteristics, complete scenario simulation in the computer. Comprehensively analyze the 5 links of adsorption, injection, synthesis, assembly, and release. Step 4. Adaptability diagnosis. According to its biological characteristics, perform scenario simulation in the computer. Evolve the evolutionary direction of the virus strain and evaluate its hazard index. Step 5. Optimize coding. Optimize the DNA sequence according to the diagnosis results of the 3rd and 4th steps, and reconduct the 2nd and 3rd steps until the DNA coding reaches the optimal state. Step 6. Design a cultivation plan based on its biological characteristics. Step 7. Cultivate the original strain. Step 8. Produce virus strains. After listening to Xiaolin's introduction, Dongfang Chen felt goosebumps all over his body. It was fortunate that this technology was in his own hands. Otherwise, if someone used this technology to manufacture viruses on a large scale, the consequences would be unimaginable. This is definitely Pandora's box, and it cannot be opened easily. Xiaolin, let me ask you a question. Why did the Nata civilization study this anti-biological gene coding technology? Dongfang Chen asked. In Dongfang Chen's view, researching viruses was no longer as simple as being anti-human. If the virus leaked, it might affect the entire biosphere. Commander, as the simplest form of life, studying the corresponding relationship between its DNA and its biological characteristics is of great significance for revealing the essence of life, Xiaolin replied. Xiaolin, can this technology be used to recompile the SPDV1 type neurotropic virus in the computer to find a method for synthesizing crystal nuclei? Dongfang Chen wondered, since zombies infected with a virus can synthesize crystal nuclei in their brains, wouldn't it be possible to use this principle to mass-produce crystal nuclei by studying this virus and finding the principle of its crystal nuclei synthesis? Chapter 198. Yan Zhangping visits Huotuang Chamber of Commerce. Understood, Commander Dongfang. As long as we obtain the complete DNA sequence of the SPDV1 neurotropic virus, we can simulate its biological characteristics in the computer, Xiaolin replied. Good, then hurry up and take care of this matter. Dongfang Chen was overjoyed. Yes, Commander Dongfang, Xiaolin replied. Every day, the queen bee eliminates many zombies, so for Xiaolin, obtaining a virus sample is not difficult. Binjiang City, headquarters of the Huotuang Chamber of Commerce. President, Commander Yan from the Southwest Military Region is looking for you, Gu Chengyi reported as she entered. Commander Yan? Quick, invite him in. Niu Xingwang was a little puzzled and hurriedly said he rarely had the opportunity to deal with Yan Zhangping. If this councilman and commander had something to discuss, he would usually go directly to Dongfang Chen. Boss Niu, please forgive my abrupt visit, Yan Zhangping said proactively as he entered. Behind him was a female officer. Naturally, Yan Fangfang. Niu Xingwang returned to the base relatively late, and although he had met Yan Fangfang a few times, he couldn't be considered familiar with her. Commander Yan, you are too kind. Please, have a seat, Niu Xingwang said politely. I won't sit down. Coming here is just a formality. I know you have a special passage here. Take me to find Xiachen, Yan Zhangping said simply and directly. Ah. This, Niu Xingwang couldn't make the decision and quickly contacted Dongfang Chen through the digital eye. Dongfang Chen agreed. Niu Xingwang then opened the secret passage behind the office and headed towards the main base. Inside the main base, Commander Yan, what's the matter that you're looking for me so urgently? Dongfang Chen asked. Xiaolin, last night our southwest military region was attacked by zombie bats, Yan Zhangping said. Zombie bats? Dongfang Chen was also surprised. Flying zombies are indeed difficult to deal with at the moment. The miniature queen bees in each military sub-district and resettlement area can only deal with threats on the ground. They are powerless against attacks from the sky, that's right, and there are a large number of them. The only weapon we currently have to deal with these bats is the flamethrower. However, the military region's fuel reserves are running low and probably won't last long. Yan Zhangping said this was the first time he had said something so cowardly. This matter is indeed difficult to handle. I'm sorry, Commander Yan, but I don't have any good solutions at the moment, Dongfang Chen said. No, you do, Yan Zhangping said. I do, Dongfang Chen asked in confusion. That's right. I think your underground base is quite good, Yan Zhangping said with a smile. Head, so that's what you're after. Have you thought it through? Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Whether I've thought it through or not is not important. Lives are at stake, and I can't wait any longer, Yan Zhangping said. Sigh. All right then. But the timing isn't right yet. If we're going to do it, we can only do it secretly, Dongfang Chen said. That would be even better. It would save me a lot of trouble, Yan Zhangping replied. All right then. Let me think about how to operate this matter to make it better, Dongfang Chen said, then fell into contemplation. Yan Zhangping didn't urge him. Niu Xingwang on the side was even more confused and didn't understand what the two of them were talking about at all. Half an hour later, Commander Yan. How many military sub-districts do you currently have on your side? Dongfang Chen asked. 12. Yan Zhangping didn't hide anything. 12. That's not easy. If we build an underground base in each military sub-district, the resources consumed would be enormous, Dongfang Chen said. What suggestions do you have? Yan Zhangping asked. What is the total troop strength? Dongfang Chen asked. 220,000. Yan Zhangping replied. This was the biggest risk of cooperating with Dongfang Chen. Many military secrets would be leaked, but having made a decision, Yan Zhangping no longer hesitated. The best method is to combine the troops, Dongfang Chen said. Combine the troops. Yan Zhangping fell into contemplation. Combining the troops is not very realistic. Such a large troop movement requires me to report to the military and political department. That way, it wouldn't be very realistic to do it secretly, Yan Zhangping said after thinking for a while. If that's the case, then we can only build an underground defensive structure for each military sub-district first, Dongfang Chen said. Explain in detail. Yan Zhangping became interested. It's equivalent to a giant underground air raid shelter. However, the configuration is stronger than an air raid shelter. It has a basic air circulation system, water circulation system, and power system. Although it's impossible to live underground for a long time, it should be enough to deal with zombie bats. During the day, the soldiers return to the ground for normal activities. At night, except for those on duty, all the other soldiers enter the underground structure to rest, Dongfang Chen explained. Yan Zhangping nodded as he listened. That's good too. With such an underground defensive structure, it will at least solve the immediate problem. It wouldn't be impossible to gradually improve the underground base later, Yan Zhangping said. That's all we can do for now. Even so, the crystal cores needed to build these underground defensive structures are not a small number, Dongfang Chen said. Chapter 199 Lingayu and Lingluo. The number of crystal cores needed to build these underground defense works is not a small amount. What's the price? Yan Zhangping asked. Each underground facility costs at least 500,000 crystal cores, Dongfang Chen replied. 500,000. That's not a small number. No wonder you suggested I'd better combine forces, Yan Zhangping exclaimed. 500,000 crystal cores for one military sub-district, 12 would be 6 million. Even though Yan Zhangping had earned a lot from other military regions, it wouldn't be easy to come up with this expense. I have another compromise. Among the 12 military sub-districts, every 2 adjacent military sub-districts can share one underground facility first. This will solve the immediate problem and reduce some costs. However, this would require temporarily merging the 2 military sub-districts into one, Dongfang Chen said. That's also a solution, Yan Zhangping nodded. This method isn't very targeted, and there's an excuse to report it to the military and political department. However, This is not a long-term solution. The most fundamental way is to find ways to obtain more crystal cores, Dongfang Chen said. After all, the number of zombies is limited. It's currently summer, and there are many mutated cockroaches in the south, making it too risky. Therefore, our soldiers can only advance north. Over the past few months, the zombies in the surrounding cities have been almost completely eliminated, Yan Hangping said. Have you ever considered raising some zombie rats? Dongfang Chen asked. Raising zombie rats? Yan Hangping frowned. Wasn't this what the Crimson Cult had done before? That's right, rats are small and reproduce quickly. As long as the base number is large enough, I believe the speed of obtaining crystal cores won't be slow, Dongfang Chen explained, but after these rats become zombified, it will be difficult to eliminate them. Yan Hangping said, you don't need to worry about this. As long as you raise them well, I have a way to eliminate them and obtain crystal cores, Dongfang Chen said. Really? Yan Hangping's eyes lit up. Of course, it's true, Dongfang Chen smiled. Good. It's good to find something for these lazy soldiers to do, Yan Hangping laughed. I can provide you with food for raising rats, Dongfang Chen said. Using food to feed rats? Do you know how many people in the country can't even get enough to eat? Yet you're using food to feed rats. Yan Hangping couldn't believe his ears. Commander Yan, don't misunderstand. The food I'm talking about is the waste left over from food processing. The production base of the Huituang Chamber of Commerce produces a large amount of this waste every day, Dongfang Chen explained. So that's how it is. Yan Hangping understood. However, even though it's waste, I still have to charge some crystal cores, Dongfang Chen added. Haha. You little brat, you really are a money grubber, Yan Hangping joked. One more thing, let Yan Fangfang be responsible for the construction of the underground base for the time being. The Huituang Chamber of Commerce has only just opened up its situation, and the branches of the first batch of 20 cooperative resettlement sites are still under construction. If it's revealed at this time that we have cooperation with the military, it may backfire, Dongfang Chen said. I don't care about that, as long as the base can be built as soon as possible, Yan Hangping said, indicating that he didn't mind. Master, how are you? The Holy Sun asked. Since fleeing from Moscow on the night of June 29, the Holy Sun had been leading the bearded man westward and northward. Now they had arrived in Gansu province, which belonged to the northwest military region. I can still hold on, the bearded man replied absent-mindedly. Master, do you know what level the leader of the Red Lotus sect is? The Holy Sun asked. I'm not sure. When he attacked, I didn't feel a trace of energy fluctuation. I think he should be at least at the 5th level or above, the bearded man said. The Holy Sun gasped. Master, how is that possible? How could someone be promoted to the 5th level in a year? He couldn't believe it. He himself had just been promoted to the 2nd level and thought that no one would be his opponent. He didn't expect to fail on his first try. Perhaps our guess is wrong. This Red Lotus sect may not be a temporary gathering of rabble, the bearded man said. But didn't they say that only our holy church has this cultivation method? The Holy Sun asked. The holy church has been around for nearly 2,000 years since its birth. Who can guarantee that the scriptures in the church haven't been leaked out? The bearded man said. The Holy Sun nodded, expressing his agreement. The failure in Moscow fully shows that it's obviously impossible to copy foreign experience and control China by controlling zombies. The bearded man continued. Master, as long as number 1 is still there, we will be invincible, the Holy Sun Lingyu said. Lingyu? I haven't had time to tell you. Ling Luo has already come to China, the bearded man said. Why is he here? The Holy Sun Lingyu frowned. Chapter 200 Nucleosynthesis Method. Your failure in China is a fact, and the elders are very dissatisfied, said the man with the bushy beard. Master, is this your idea, isn't it? Lingayu asked. Lingayu. I hope you understand your position. You are not in a place to question the elders' orders. Besides, Lingluo is your junior brother. You shouldn't regard him as your enemy, said the man with the bushy beard. He is just a complete hypocrite. Does he deserve to be my enemy? Lingayu became furious as soon as Lingluo was mentioned. Senior brother, it makes me very sad to hear you say that. A man's voice floated from a distance. Lingluo. Lingayu gritted her teeth. Greetings, master. Lingluo quickly appeared and bowed deeply to the man with the bushy beard. All right, you may rise, said the man with the bushy beard. Thank you, master, Lingluo said. Senior brother, it's a bit much for you to speak ill of your junior brother in front of master. Lingluo looked at Lingayu. Junior brother, you've wronged me. I didn't say anything bad about you, I was just stating the facts. Ling Gaiyu retorted, "It seems that you have a deep prejudice against me. But it doesn't matter, I believe that one day, senior brother will definitely change his opinion of me," Ling Luo said generously. "That day will never come." Ling Gaiyu didn't give him any face at all. "Alright, you two stop arguing. Ling Gaiyu, you go back to the main branch first, the elders want to see you," said the man with the bushy beard. Ling Gaiyu was stunned for a moment when she heard the words of the man with the bushy beard. "I didn't expect that. Even master doesn't trust me." Ling Gaiyu thought from Yusa province to Ganlin province. It was a journey of 2,000 kilometers. The man with the bushy beard didn't mention the elders wanting to see her along the way. But as soon as Ling Luo arrived, the man with the bushy beard said it. "Why is that?" The reason was that the man with the bushy beard's legs were paralyzed, and he was worried that Ling Gaiyu would be detrimental to him. "Ling Gaiyu, what are you standing there for?" The man with the bushy beard frowned and scolded. "Yes, master." Ling Gaiyu gave a slight salute and responded reluctantly, "Hurry up and leave." The man with the bushy beard glared and continued to scold. Although Ling Gaiyu was full of resentment, she could only endure it. She looked angrily at Ling Luo and turned to leave. "Master, your legs," Ling Luo asked after Ling Gaiyu left. "I was injured by an expert, but fortunately, I saved my life," said the man with the bushy beard. "Master, are you saying that there are people in the Red Lotus sect who are even more powerful than you?" Ling Luo asked. "That's right. If I'm not mistaken, it's at least a tier 5 mutant," said the man with the bushy beard. "It seems that China is indeed full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers," Ling Luo said. "That's right." On this point, Ling Gaiyu's understanding is insufficient. He tried to use zombies to control the entire China, which is too simplistic, said the man with the bushy beard. "Master, the eldest brother is just a little impatient, but he is still capable," Ling Luo said. "You don't have to speak for him. Let's go," said the man with the bushy beard. "Yes, master." Binjiang City underground base. The conversation of the three people with the bushy beard was now being played in a loop in Dongfang Chen's office. Who is number one? Why is he invincible? Dongfang Chen grasped a key point in Ling Gaiyu's words. Master again, elders again. It seems that there are many levels above the Red Cloak sect. Commander, the gene analysis of the SPDV1 type neurotropic virus is complete, and the crystal nucleus synthesis method has been obtained, Xiaolin reported at this time. "Oh? So fast? Tell me the details." Dongfang Chen was a little surprised that only took one day to get the analysis results. It seems that the speed of the quantum computer is not a joke. From the analysis results, the essence of crystal nucleus synthesis is the continuous polymerization of biological energy by the virus in the host. Xiaolin replied. "That's it?" Dongfang Chen asked. "That's it," Xiaolin replied. "That shouldn't be. If the essence of the crystal nucleus is biological energy, then the size of the crystal nucleus should be different, and the amount of energy should be different. Why do the crystal nuclei of zombie rats and zombie humans have the same value?" Dongfang Chen asked. "The value of the crystal nucleus is related to the energy density, and has nothing to do with the amount of energy," Xiaolin replied. "If you say that, wouldn't it be cheaper to raise cockroaches to cultivate crystal nuclei?" Dongfang Chen's mind went wild. Since the sizes of the crystal nuclei are different, and the values are the same, then of course the smaller the animal, the lower the cost of raising it. "Commander, according to the gene analysis results, only mammals will zombify and produce crystal nuclei," Xiaolin replied. "So that's how it is. Then rats are still more cost-effective." Dongfang Chen understood. "Commander, there are other methods for artificially manufacturing crystal nuclei," Xiaolin said. "Oh? Tell me about it," Dongfang Chen said. "Through the analysis of the virus DNA sequence, the key gene fragment for crystal nucleus synthesis has been found. This gene code can be used to design new viruses that can synthesize crystal nuclei in insects. In this way, the cost of producing crystal nuclei will be greatly reduced," Xiaolin said. "No. The gene coding technology of stage 1 is too dangerous and is not suitable for virus research and development. It can still be used for analysis and simulation," Dongfang Chen refused very simply. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.